Welcome back, beautiful humans. I am so happy to see you all again. Let's let some people crawl back in from their little slumbers. Anybody take a power nap? Nice little power nap in between sessions. It's always good. I wish I could have taken a power nap. Big fan of naps. So I got there was a tweet, or no, I saw it in this thread that Mega said that somebody in the gallery talked to somebody in the media, and somebody in the media said that Tellez may not be testifying until tomorrow. Wow. Just wow. So yeah, that would be disappointing. I mean, it sounded like they only had 2 witnesses lined up. The tech guy took a while, especially with all the added redirects and recrosses and the redirect and the recross and the redirect and the recross and the, you know what I mean? It was painful. It was painful. So that will be a bummer if he doesn't get on the stand today. But I mean, what are we going to do? Should we lodge a formal complaint with the league office? Strongly worded letter to whom it may concern. We find that this trial is dragging a bit. None of us want to be bored. Put the guy on the stand. Let's go. Let's go. So we'll find out. We'll find out. Judge Levitt almost never comes back on time. So I will pull up the trial just so we can all keep an eye on it together. I like what, if I don't have Jay as my safety blanket, I got to have this shit up on screen so that, the trial's not deep in. And I'm like completely sleeping on it. So, all right, there we go. There we go. We're locked and loaded, ready to go there. So what do you guys think? What do you guys think? Where are you at? So this this Twitter account recap, who is typically a person I would love as a defense attorney to have on the jury because I mean, they're fighting hard. They're fighting hard. This count is fighting hard that he thinks or she thinks that there are gaping holes in the state's case, that they have to, that somehow the DNA, could have been planted, I guess, or that it's suspect, that you can't trust the results. Yeah. I don't know. I'm always for a good conspiracy or corruption case. It's like, I know they exist. I know they are very real. I had proof of that on our live last night. I cannot restate it enough. If you have a problem believing that law enforcement fixes cases, frames people, go watch the live from last night. I promise you, it'll change your mind. It's shocking and horrifying. It's absolutely horrifying to think that people with guns and badges and that much power, the power to change your life in the blink of an eye. They slap those cuffs on you and they become tunnel vision or laser focused on you and think that you did something. And they start building their case. They create their theory. They use things that may otherwise be innocent, but when looked at in the context of a bigger theory, it fits. I mean, you got problems. You got real problems. And this cop that we're talking about last night. No, no, Pokey. No, that's what the defense is. The defense is saying that he was framed up. I am still waiting for the defense to put some kind of proof of a frame up on. I am definitely not saying that he was framed up, but that is certainly what the defense is. It sounds like, Pokey. I don't know if you were here yesterday. It kind of sounds like what the theory is that Tejas, through his elected position, that there were people that were losing hundreds of thousands of dollars based on decisions that were made by his office. Additionally, that there was some kind of bribery scandal going on that involved his office, that he was the whistleblower. Point being that there were a bunch of people that may have had the motive to kill him because of money, which, as we know, money is certainly one of the primary motives to murder. There's no question about that. So that part of it, I get. I think that there's some truth, but then what I think, and I can only say I think because they haven't laid it out this way, is that we're saying is that one of these disgruntled people, instead of just outright killing Tejas, they instead decide, okay, well, we're gonna frame him, and we're gonna do it by way of killing somebody that Tejas believes has ruined his life. So that Tejas will obviously be the number one suspect because of all these articles that have been out, that have flamethrown his political career, and the disconnect for me is, which cop do they get to then perfect the frame up by planting the evidence in his house, planting the DNA under the fingernail? I mean, it's like, I don't know. I don't know. See, and like y'all watch, like I'll listen. I will listen. Like I am not one to dismiss things offhand. That's not my style. I will listen to everything that comes out at trial, but I'm always going to give an honest opinion on whether or not, like, no matter which way it goes. I don't give a shit that I was a defense attorney. Somebody's guilty, they're guilty. Period. End of conversation. So, and I'm getting that vibe, but we still got the defense to go. I mean, Allie, like she was saying when she was on, like if they don't call a DNA expert to deal with this DNA under the fingernails, it's case over. Like if they're not going to address that, if they're just going to try to do the old sweep it under the rug thing, nah, ain't feeling that. That's Nowheresville. That is the big G. Guilty as charged, sir. She'll go to the gallows. So yeah, I don't know, but I'm very anxious. I'm very, very anxious for him to take the stand. It's like you just kind of you can't wait for defendants to take the stand. It's so rare, really is. It's very, very rare for defendants to take the stand. I mean, most often it does not happen. Like, and then you get a narcissist like Murdoch who gets up there, or you get a narcissist like this dude, parent narcissist, who's going to get on the stand and try to explain his shit, and we'll see if it has legs. But I'm anxious to hear it. I truly, truly am. I always love, and it's not even the direct I love the cross examinations of the defendant, as long as I'm not the lawyer. As long as it's not my client on the stand, I love watching defendants testify. I mean, it goes to the heart of the confrontation clause of the Constitution. It's like, it's the thing, right? The confrontation clause is that you get to grill all the people that are accusing you of doing something, and then you've got the right to testify on your own behalf. And it's the heart of the Constitution. It's like it's just good stuff. So like I'm really hoping that we get it today, but I think what'll happen is if this second witness that is called is lengthy, that oh shit. Really, Dawn? Tell me more. I'm listening. I'm listening. I do a pretty fair amount of wrongful conviction work, Dawn. So you may want me maybe shoot me an email at Insider at Defense Diary. Shoot me an email. I will. Got a lot of people that reach out to me and Allie in terms of trying to either shed light and or get us to pick up a case if it happens to be in our jurisdiction. But I'm always all ears when it comes to wrongful conviction. So, feel free to shoot me an email. I'd love to hear about it. I've got like three on the, I've got three. I've got the one with Julie Beverly. Beverly is down in Marion, Illinois. That's the thing I'm doing with Lauren Pachenko. That'll be released in November, we believe, on iHeartRadio. It's a big pod. That pod will get lots and lots of publicity going into it being released. So that's a nice boon for me. It's good because I super proud of my podcast. If you guys like the content that we put out on our YouTube, where we're just riffing, just bantering, just spur of the moment commenting and all that good stuff, which we think is pretty good. The YouTube doesn't even compare to the podcast. The podcast is a whole different thing. I'm like, my scripted stuff, I write, I research it, and I tell one hell of a story. They're long, deep dives, the deepest dive in the game. I will put my dives up against any podcast that you listen to in terms of just the nitty gritty details. Plus you get a legal education while you're listening. I think it's really good. I think it's really, really good. And I know that seems a little obnoxious to say that, but I listen to a fair amount of podcasts, and I would put mine up against any of them to be at least as good, if not better. So there, I said it. I don't apologize. I'm not sorry. I said it. It's out there. It's out there. So, but yeah, check it out. Scan that QR code. Go check out the podcast. If you don't like it, I will give you a full refund of your money for listening to my free podcast. But I did want to announce one more time. Wait, let's see. Did I ask Chris D to be the boots on the ground? He would scare the shit out of Tez. I did not. That was a good idea, though. It's a good idea. Again, for our UK folks out there who we love so much, if you guys are hanging around in mid to late September and you're in and around London, maybe come check out CrimeCon UK. As I said, if you missed it, I've just learned that I'm going to be doing a panel with the one and only Chris Hansen to catch a predator fame. So I'm really excited about that. Dude's pretty legendary. He's been catching creeps for a long time. I was always a big fan of that show. I was always like, Jesus, are these people that stupid? They walk in and there's a dude standing in there and the dude starts asking them questions. I'm like, it's not like they wouldn't have found you after the fact, but I'm like, certainly not sitting there having discussions with them. I'm one of the creeps. So he's great. I'm really excited about that. So that'll be a great panel. We're still trying to figure out what exactly we're going to cover. It should be really cool, though. And I'm assuming Chris will probably interview me as opposed to me interviewing him. But whatever the case may be, it's sure to be entertaining. And if you're out there, if you're in fabulous United Kingdom and in and around London, or want to take a day trip or a weekend trip, come on out and make sure you use. Wait, they sent me my code. I want to make sure I get the code right. Because if you guys, whether it's CrimeCon, whether it's CrimeCon UK, whether it's True Crime Podcast Festival, if you use our promo codes, at that point, it helps us as a show because it lets the people who put the cons together, it lets them know that we're a draw for people to come. which ultimately ends up benefiting us in a way that benefits you because you get a discount on the ticket. So that's really something that if you're thinking about doing it, make sure that you use our code, which I'm going to give you right here. David sent it to me pretty recently. I don't know where it is though. Let's see. Well, whatever. I'll find it. He just emailed it to me. It's like if everybody would just use defense, it would be super easy. Like, but so it's defense D, all caps, defense D. That is the discount code. So if you are thinking about getting tickets, make sure you plug defense D in there and you'll get a nice discount on your tickets. I think it's 10%. And again, it helps the show. And, we are dependent on y'all for your generosity and your support of the show. So that is big for us. And that's just another little way. And again, five stars review on Apple or Spotify is huge for us. I mean, frankly, that's the biggest thing that you can do for us that costs you not a nickel, just costs you maybe a few seconds to just do a boop 5-star, because there's a million pods out there in the Naked City, and if people are like, oh, what do I listen to, and they start looking at the reviews, the reviews are huge. And like I get people because people misconstrue what my position is and they say all kinds of nasty shit about me. And then they'll go in without ever having listened to my pod and being just really shitty people. They'll leave a bad review, even though they never listened to the podcast, because they disagree with the concept of a fair trial, I guess, especially on the Delphi thing. The Delphi thing has just been next level. Like never said anything other than the dude is absolutely guaranteed a fair trial. And the way that process has gone in that case has been bullshit. Simple. He could be the guy. I have no clue. I mean, at this point, they say that he's confessed 61 times. I mean, granted, it's after, 7 months of being in solitary. So, we got to hear what he says. Like, you can't know until trial, just like anything else. I never predict a case, like saying it definitively until we've gone to trial. That is something you could take to the bank with me. Certainly there's cases where I'm like, wow, a lot of defense. Like I feel very, very confident that Rex Heuermann is the guy. Like, yes, we got to have trial, certainly. But based on the evidence that they presented thus far, and I'm talking about the bail applications on Rex Heuermann, pretty confident. I feel pretty confident that they got the right guy on that one. Most cases are not like that. Circumstantial cases are tough. They've got some DNA, got a lot of phone data. So it's what do you do, Pammy? I missed. I've been running at the mouth, so I have no idea what I said 10 seconds ago because, that's just how I am. I'm old. I have a very, very short memory. We got action. Only 13 minutes late. Wow, I rambled that long. See, I just lose track of time. I don't know. I watched both of them. And wait, the code doesn't work? What do you mean, Julie? It doesn't work. Did you try defense D? Maybe try it without the D. Maybe it's just defense. Oh, that's what it is. D is his signature. Just defense. Get the D.
And the defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and we call your next witness.
Defense calls Nicole Lofton.
Damn it. Karen, is that about him not getting on the stand today? I seen it. Oh. Is that the one, Taryn? Oh, yeah. I watched that last week. Super sad. But yeah, I watched it. Very, very well done documentary. Yeah, so I was saying, Lauren's there. My homie. Looking fabulous per usual. Pokey, it's great. I mean, super, super, super sad, but it's really well done.
Please watch your step up into the witness
And I'm
stand.
talking about
Remain standing, raise your right hand, face the clerk, please.
take it
You
together.
do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do. You may be seated. Please state and spell your first and last name for the record.
Yes, my name is Nicole Lofton, Nichole. Lofton is Lofton.
Thank you. Ms. Lofton, do you know Robert Tellis?
I do.
You see him seated here in council table?
I do.
Is he the gentleman with the fine hair or the bald gentleman?
The bald gentleman.
How long have you known him?
Since 2021,
Too long.
21.
Too long.
Did you work at the public administrator's office?
I did.
When did you begin work there?
May of 21,
He hired you.
he did.
When you began your employee at the public administrator's office, how many employees were there?
I think our group may have been 9.
And what was the environment like when you began?
I'll just start with Rob, and it was very inviting. He was gave me a day one tour of the office, kind of a lay of what we'd be doing, and a little bit about how the office was ran. Introduced me to the staff, which included the lead.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Okay, that included the lead, which was the I forget what the title was, but she was basically the primary not investigator, but the primary.
Somebody's
I'm so
nervous.
sorry.
Somebody's nervous.
She was the person kind of over our group. And then there was the assistant public administrator and investigators, kind of a woman that ran the shop, so to speak.
What is up
And
with
then
camera
there
work
was
here?
another couple of people across the street that
Am I crazy?
warehouse people.
This is not
So
me.
over the first
We're-
couple of days, that's kind of how he introduced me to the department.
And what was the general
wide
location
world
of the
of
public
course.
administrator's office?
It's across
know,
the street
Taryn.
from Valley and UMC Hospital. I forget the address. I'm sorry.
Okay, and then you're not being asked to recall that. What was your position at the public administrator's office?
Probate administrator.
And what did your duties include to be the probate administrator?
Maybe
So
she
I was
doesn't want to be
responsible
shown.
for what I would call my book of work,
Exactly.
assigned by Rob, and it involved receiving cases of decedents, people who passed away in the county, and basically handling their estates. Most of our decedents' families were either not reached immediately or didn't have the capacity to handle a probate themselves.
Okay,
So we had small estate probates that would kind of entail a nominal bank account, a couple of $1,000s, and no real property. And then we had some of the larger cases that involved real property and businesses and other assets that needed to be dissolved.
did you work at the office full-time?
I did.
Did there come a point in time where there was news of articles, talk of articles coming out that were authored by Jeff Garman?
Probably about a year into my tenure there.
Okay, would that been about May 2020?
All right. No, apparently, I'm assuming that this witness did not want to be live streamed. So she requested that the camera not be trained on her face. Clearly, that's what's going on. Like, there's no way at this point that like somebody in the booth wouldn't have been like, yo, dude, you need to pan up there, bro. No, like this is like protecting the witness's identity.
Me too.
Approximately.
After the first of these series, and are you aware that there were 4 articles?
I am.
After these articles began to be published or to be known in the office, did you observe any expression of anger from Mr. Tellis?
No.
Was it fair to say that it was business as usual from the time that you started up until and through that time?
As far as business is concerned, absolutely.
Okay, and then your
Chush
And
that
we
was
were-
my next question. Did there appear to be a divide upon your in the office once you started working there?
Yes.
And what was this
Immediately.
divide? You said immediately. Please continue.
Correct. So, I don't know at what point I brought it to Rob's attention, but I definitely felt a lot of tension in the office and kind of on my own, other than the training that I was receiving from Rob, some coaching or just kind words from
The hell's
one
that
of the
guy?
other administrators. But the majority of the staff was upset that it seemed as if they were upset that I was there. And I had to go back as in discussions with my husband and recall, like, we were coming out of COVID and I started thinking, I was like, did I interview, not in person? I knew that part of it, but I said, wasn't I on camera on Zoom? And because I remember there was some technical difficulties. So I don't remember whether or not the cameras were completely working. I do remember having seen the majority of the people on the panel, but I don't really know that they saw me. And so I kind of immediately within the first month felt like now I'm here and they see me, a little bit taken back by whom he had hired.
Okay, when you say whom, you're talking about Robert Tellis.
Yes.
Did there ever come a point in time where you were told basically you had to choose sides?
Yes.
You
Pretty
can just-
early on.
Sure.
One of the administrators, Alicia, Told-
Alicia,
Objection, hearsay.
His name. I mean,
her identity? I mean,
you're just gonna ask her who it was?
yes.
Okay, you can ask her.
Is it Alicia Goodwin?
yes, it was.
Okay, and not without getting into what she said, but basically this idea you felt like you had to take sides.
Yes.
And the sides would either be on the side of Alicia Goodwin and others or Robert Tellis.
Correct.
Did that cause stress to you?
It did.
How did it impact you?
I just felt uncomfortable choosing between, I had been a supervisor before, so I felt uncomfortable choosing the staff members over my supervisor. I didn't have enough information to make a decision on one side or the other. I just wanted to do the work. And it just
Understood.
became increasingly harder to do the work because I refused to choose.
And did it appear that your desire to do the work matched that of Robert Tellis's desires,
Yes,
just to do the work?
correct.
Now, in order to avoid hearsay or to draw objections, in reference to this pick sides, we had Mr. Tellis on one side, we had Miss Goodwin on the other. Who else was on this other side?
Rita Reed, Noreen, and I apologize, I don't want to butcher her last name. Jessica at some point joined that side. She wasn't there initially. Initially, she was kind of helpful when I would have property come into the warehouse. One person who was day one was, I think her name was Janine, or Janie, sorry. And she was the office admin, but she was day one nasty.
And was it after your understanding
Nasty,
that
baby.
there was a desire that you should
Nasty.
pick
baby.
sides? Did these articles then that were authored by Jeff Gehrman follow this
Months later,
months later? And you would testify that
Sounds
after
like
these articles
manana.
came out, you didn't see Mr. Tellis angry.
I did not.
You didn't see him throwing things, slamming things as a result of these articles or anything else for that matter.
I did not.
Did he ever act hostile towards yourself or any other people?
No.
As part of your duties, did you ever go with Mr. Tellis to estates that were being overseen by the public administrator's office?
I did.
And if you could please describe for us what this entailed. What did you do with him?
So most of the time, it would involve real property. And so we would meet with the brokers assigned to, that had been charged with selling the property, or someone who was going to do a soft or even harder than a soft renovation. So we would meet at the property most of the time, because I didn't have access to a county car. We would ride together, and then we would get out and we'd kind of walk through the property. We've already seen photos and such, so it wasn't long visits. It was just pretty quick. Mr. Tellis, or Rob, as I called him, was pretty familiar with what he wanted, what would generally be accepted by families as far as the level of work that would be done. And sometimes they wouldn't be in a condition where you could stay in there very long. Some of the real property had decedents, unfortunately, who passed away in the homes. So it wasn't something that you would feel comfortable staying long periods of time in.
So what you're saying is some of these properties were in a fair amount of disrepair. They weren't kept.
Either that is correct, or just the smell. Sometimes you have the smell from, decaying human waste.
Human waste.
Yeah.
So if I understand your testimony, these homes or these structures would be unoccupied with homeless people coming into them, things like that?
No, not so much that they had been squatted on. Just someone, it's a pretty common phenomenon for someone elderly to pass away in a recliner.
Now
So
I understand.
we
Okay.
come in, even though the person is gone, that recliner with human waste on it is still there. The smell from it or the stench from it is still in the home on these initial visits.
Now these homes, generally the person that would pass, they didn't have a will, they died. I think the legal term is intestate.
Correct.
And there was a desire by yourself to prepare these homes and to move them so the heirs could receive monies from the passing of a loved one.
That was the absolute intent.
And did you share this absolute intent with Robert Tellis?
I did. I learned it from him.
About how many of these home sites did you walk with Rob Tellis?
I would say at the time that I left, I had done maybe 30 to 40 cases, and I would say about half of those had real property attached to them.
Okay, so a substantial number.
Correct.
Over at least about a 1 year period or more?
Year and a half.
Were you familiar with his gait? The way he walked?
Pretty much.
If I could turn your attention to what's been admitted as State's Exhibit 338. May I publish this? I didn't break it.
Your Honor.
Ooh, hot mic. Hot mic. Ooh, there's Lauren. Lauren's taking notes. It's like, ooh, hot mic. Taz is like, what's going on? What are they talking about? Oh, what? Are they talking about me? I want to hear. What about me?
Not sure.
I wanted to show you just a video clip, and we're trying to get it up on the overhead screen.
Guys, just so pull that up and then hold it and slide it to the right. It's pretending as if the monitor to your right is connected to your computer. Hey, give me 1 second. It is actually.
So then, how,
So kind of on the.
You're
top
welcome
of
to.
it.
yeah, I've never,
So let's do it this way. Magic. You're welcome. Hold on. I just. Here. If you can. There you go.
Thank you very much.
So you want to use that screen bubble? No. So you'll have to use the mouse pad over there and move your first. You'll have to watch that screen. It's like they're connected.
Here we go. All right. You've seen this clip, I'm assuming? Okay, I'm going to play this for you. You testified that you're familiar with Rob Tellis's gait, the way he walks.
Yes,
Are you able to say that that's him?
I am not.
You don't look at that gait and go, that's Robert Tellis.
I haven't. I've looked at it before and I did not come to that conclusion.
Like I said, we're not getting into the substance of conversations, but did you know a gentleman by the name of Zach Schilling?
I did.
Who was he and what did he do?
He was a real estate agent. I'm not sure if he's an actual broker, but a real estate agent on a few of my cases.
Okay. Was there, fair to say, a falling out between him and Mr. Tellis?
I would say between him and myself, which I brought to Mr. Tellis's attention. I wasn't aware that it went further than, or if he had anything separate from me, but for sure, I brought some concerns to Mr. Tellis's attention.
And was that concerning the way in which he treated a property?
Personal property, yes.
Not, did you?
And some of the conversations he called me about and had.
Okay.
Not.
And as a result of, let me ask you this, do you feel like he misused property or misappropriated property?
I feel like something went missing and he never gave an explanation for it.
And then you brought that to Mr. Tellis's attention.
I did.
And is it fair to say then that Mr. Schilling basically didn't have any more listings or he wasn't involved anymore concerning the moving of these estates to get the monies to the heirs?
I would say with, as far as the, at some point, the office kind of broke off from supervision. So I wasn't privy to what the other person's caseloads were. So I don't know if they were continuing to use him, but I know that people, I want to say on our side, we're not using him any longer.
And when you say your
And I
side,
hadn't seen him in the office, which is not common. If you're working on cases, you see the brokers quite often.
so after this issue that you had with him concerning the disposal of decedent's property, and after bringing this to the attention of Mr. Tellis, your side of the office wasn't using him anymore.
Correct.
And your side of the office, meaning you, Mr. Tellis, and others, fair to say?
For fair.
And those on the other side of the office, who would those people to be? Are they the same ones that you had stated?
Yes.
They were using him.
I don't know. I
You don't
wasn't privy to their cases.
Following these articles that were authored by Mr. Gehrman, did you ever witness any retaliation on the part of Mr.
Tiny
Tellis
hands.
to anyone in the office?
No.
And is that from, and that would have been, the time of these articles was May of 2022 until Mr. Tellis no longer being there. Was it consistent? No retaliation?
Yeah. And in fact, it was quite the opposite. I was asking for things, and I'm sorry, I'm a tear up.
Understood.
I was asking for things, and because of these articles and the treatment or what he expected to get as a result of these articles, how he was expected to be treated, he kept asking me to just wait. And having been new to the county, I wasn't familiar with the process. I was asking people, and I wasn't getting a lot of answers as to how to handle the bullying. So it was quite the opposite. It wasn't that he was doing something to them, it was that it was being done to me. And he was saying, just wait. We're going to get to a point where we can address these issues. And we never got to that point.
Who was bullying you?
Objection relevant.
Effect on the listener. All right.
Wait, wasn't it
Mr.
hearsay
Tellis
objection?
ultimately lost in the primaries.
Relevance.
Yes.
Objection.
That would have been in June of 2022.
Correct.
Following his losing in the primaries, did you see him act out in anger?
No.
Did you see him become hostile with anybody in the office?
No. I saw him less frequently, but on a schedule. We would put together our work and we would communicate with him, and I knew what days he would be in signing things. And again, it continued in that pattern where I had to wait for signatures. I would get denied signatures. Things that needed a certain dollar amount needed dual signatures. Things would go missing.
And whose signatures were being denied?
Rita Reed.
So after Robert Tellis loses the primary, was it your observations that it was business as usual? You were just trying to process these estates to help those who had suffered the loss of a loved one?
Everything was the same. He was the same demeanor in handling things. I feel like he might have even went an extra step to involve people in the investigative part of our job where we had to send people out. Again, that was a little bit of my frustration because I felt like, hey, you're the public administrator, just make a decision. But he continued to try to involve Rita in things, even though the minute he stepped out of the office, the help that I was due stopped.
And that then was to the detriment of the heirs.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Cross-examination.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
So I want to make sure I got my math right. My understanding is that you knew Mr. Tellis for about a year and a half before he was arrested?
Yes.
Okay. And during that time period, was all of your contact with him in the workplace?
With the exception of maybe like one or two, maybe one thing outside of the office, and it was just a Easter egg roll
Okay.
that I brought my children to.
And so when you were in the workplace, was it a situation where you worked with him every day or some days more than others? Can you give me some
So
sense?
every day,
Okay.
we had cases to review. I had questions. I was still actively in training
Okay.
and actively having to ask questions. And he had checklists for every phase of our work.
Sure.
And so when I got to finish one set of checklists, I would have to have that part of my cases reviewed. So
Okay.
every single day.
And you were a probate administrator?
Yes,
Okay. Did you ever work with Roberta Lee Kennett?
I did.
Okay. Did you guys have the same job or did you
Yes, we did.
kind of a
I
complementary?
started off as a 1 and then I moved up to a 2 after probation.
Okay. And we've heard some description from her that you maybe would be responsible for one house and then maybe she, because she had the same job, would be responsible for a different house?
Well, it wasn't by house, it was just by
By
the
estate.
decedents.
Okay,
yes.
yeah, that's a better way to put it. But how many of probate administrators were there?
If you count the lead, 4.
4? Okay, and so
And then 5 that we added
Okay.
someone later.
So I assume then Mr. Tellis would be working with, as the public administrator, sometimes he would be working with any one of the 4 or 5 of you on the various projects that associated with those estates?
Correct.
Okay, and when he was working on one project, I assume then you were doing other stuff on your own?
Yes,
On
there's
your own project?
lots of tasks to do outside of.
Okay, now you said that you started in 2021, is that right?
I believe so.
Do you remember what month that was?
May.
May? Okay, so it's about a year in when those stories start coming out about Mr. Tellis.
That sounds accurate.
Okay. And I think you said on direct examination, you recalled that there was a series of them, like 4.
Yes.
And you said that you didn't observe Mr. Tellis to be upset about the stories.
No, in fact, the first story he asked me to participate in,
Okay.
and I met with
Yeah.
Mr. German.
Yeah, Mr. Gehrman actually came to the office before that first story, and Mr. Tellis sat for an interview, right?
Correct. We all did.
Yeah. And then it was after that that the first story came out.
Yes.
Okay. And then there, that very first story alleged an inappropriate relationship. It alleged bullying and kind of mismanagement in the office. Do you recall that?
I just recall the things that were related to me. I'm not sure if Article 1, 2, 3, or 4 alleged
Okay.
any relationship things. I just remember the part relating to me.
I mean, do you remember like that generally the allegations were kind of unflattering to Mr. Tellis?
The first article, no. I think I don't recall it being unflattering to him.
Do you remember if one of the articles had sort of a video attached to it in an electronic version?
I don't remember if it says attached to which article, but
Okay.
yes,
Oh,
I do
okay.
remember that video. Thank
Okay.
you.
And it's your testimony that he never expressed any anger or upset or disappointment about that article?
With me, no.
And I guess, yeah, that kind of gets to my question. That's kind of your relationship with him, right? He didn't express that to you. You wouldn't be aware of what he might have expressed to the reporter directly, for instance, right?
No.
And you wouldn't be aware of what he maybe put on social media about that reporter, correct?
No.
So like if he was posting negative things about that reporter after he wrote the stories on Twitter, maybe you didn't observe that.
No, I wasn't following him on social media.
Okay. So it could be that he was posting things that demonstrated upset with the articles and it's just, you're not on Twitter, so maybe you wouldn't have seen it.
I'm on Twitter, just not following Mr. Tellis.
Okay, fair enough. Now it sounds like there was a pretty stressful environment in the public administrator's office around that time period. Is that fair with these
Prior to the articles.
Okay, prior to and then including the time of the articles, right?
Yes.
And then there was a point in time when the county made the decision to actually bring in a different manager to kind of help with managing the public administrator's office, right?
That wasn't the way that Jeff Wells related to us.
At some point, Mike Murphy comes into the office, right?
Yes.
And that was in part based on the factionalization in the office.
The way it was presented to us was that he was going to help us kind of organize the office and kind of get back to work.
As opposed to doing what? Like when you say get back to work?
As opposed to focusing on those of us that were being bullied, those of us that were crying at the copier because someone was saying things to us.
So he's kind of brought in Mike Murphy to kind of calm things down, get rid of the drama and get back to work.
Yes.
Okay. And that was done while Mr. Tellis was actually in charge of the public administrator's office, right?
Yeah, so very early on, that was it. And then they didn't like that. And then they split the office up even further.
Now, are you familiar with all the vehicles that Mr. Tellis owned?
The vehicle he owned was a brown BMW.
Did you ever know him to drive a maroon Yukon?
That's the only vehicle I'm familiar with, is the brown BMW.
Is the BMW, so you never saw the Tesla either?
No.
Okay. And so the BMW would be the one he primarily, it sounds like, drove to work?
Correct.
Okay. When you, Mr. Groskovich showed you this video, that was a Metro release, and you said that you're pretty much familiar with it, and then you don't recognize this gate as being unique to Mr. Tellis. Is that fair?
That's fair.
Okay. I assume you don't have any personal knowledge as to who is actually in this video.
I do not.
Okay. And you don't know any of the from personal knowledge, you don't have any personal knowledge of who was walking down Mr. Garman Street on September the 2nd, correct?
I do not.
Okay, and you don't, probably you haven't seen all the video evidence associated with this case or the vehicles. Okay. The Mr. Draskovich asked you about Mr. Tellis's dealings with Zach Skilling. Do you recall that on direct?
Yes,
Okay, and you said that there was a point in time when there was a conflict with him, and then he wasn't used thereafter. Is that right?
that's correct.
When was that conflict?
The dates,
Well, I mean, can you just give me a rough time? Like, was it, you know?
about halfway into my tenure,
Okay.
I only had maybe 1 or 2 cases with him. And
Okay.
the reason why I specifically remember this one
Uh-huh.
is because of the decedent was a Jet Beauty. It's a African American
Yeah.
magazine. I grew up
Sure.
watching that,
Sure.
looking at that magazine. And so I was kind of in awe when I went to walk her home prior to putting it on the market and seeing all of the African American artifacts and various
Sure.
memorabilia.
So was this, when you say it's about halfway through your tenure or your time there?
So
is-
maybe fall,
Okay, yeah, that's what I
early-
think, like fall, November,
Fall,
December of
somewhere around there.
2021.
That's a guess.
Okay. Now, it's your testimony that there were no other dealings with Mr. Tellis and Mr. Skilling after that?
I don't think that was my testimony.
Oh, okay. So explain that to me.
I said that I did not believe that our side of the office was using him after I had this concern about the missing personal property.
Okay. Could there have been other, could he have been used on other cases? And you just maybe weren't aware of them because they weren't the ones that you were personally, it doesn't sound like it, it sounds like you had a unique caseload that was just yours.
Right.
So he could have done a whole bunch of other houses or other decedents, as you say, but you didn't work with him after that.
I think the one thing that needs to be kind of clarified is that he did
Well,
have
sorry,
a partner.
I'm sorry, just 1 second.
Okay.
You just have to answer the question.
Ask it again, please. I'm sorry.
So it sounds like you had your own caseload, correct?
I did.
Okay. It could be that he was working with other estate coordinators and you might not have been aware of it. Is that?
Highly unlikely.
Okay, so you believe he didn't do didn't work on any projects into 2022?
What I believe is that he was not getting new books of work.
Okay. When Mr. Tellis left the primary, you said that he started limiting his time in the office,
That's correct.
and it was Rita Reed who won the primary, correct?
Yes.
And then once she won the primary, did she institute any changes in the office while, Mr. Tellis was sort of a lame duck public administrator?
No,
It was all still his,
because she won the primary. She hadn't won the election.
right. So she kind of followed his rules until, I guess, she became the public administrator?
I wouldn't say so because I don't think he had a rule that it was okay to continue bullying staff members. So I don't think she.
Well, I guess what my question
He was
is,
talking
whatever.
about with respect to the work. Was she still following his rules?
Yeah, sure.
She was still running the investigative team,
Okay.
the investigators.
And then sometime after that, she actually becomes the public administrator, right?
I was gone by the time she became the.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Briefly, in reference to Mr. Murphy, Mr. Murphy came in while Mr. Tellis was still in charge.
Correct.
Did Mr. Tellis welcome him?
He did. He, in fact, offered that as one of the solutions to some of the problems I was having with Alicia and Rita and Janie, and saying that they were here and that they were going to make sure that things got back to the business at hand.
So the office would then run efficiently.
Correct.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Any response?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Oh,
Thank you
thank
very much
God.
For your testimony here today, you may step down. You are excused from your subpoena. Thank you for being here. Mr. Draskowitz, do we
Yes, Terrence Jameson.
Please step up and use the stand. No, that's fine. Just remain standing, raise your right hand, face the clerk, please.
You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
You may be seated. Please state and spell your first and last name for the record.
My first name is Terrence, Terrence. Last name, Jameson, Jamison.
Thank you, Mr. Jameson. How are you employed?
How am I employed?
Yes.
I'm employed by Planet Fitness as a general manager.
Okay, are you over a particular store?
Yes, the club that I run is off West Charleston Boulevard.
Okay.
Mhm.
Is it one that's off of basically West Charleston and is it Fort Apache?
Yes, sir, that's across from.
Next to a Whole Foods?
Mhm.
Did you receive a subpoena?
Oh, yes,
thank you?
Did you receive a subpoena in reference to documents or records that may be at your store?
that is correct.
Who you calling a subpoena?
Approach the witness. Showing you what's been-
Yeah, I used to see little Bobby in there getting ripped every day. Ripped.
Could you please review this document?
Yeah, Joe. My testosterone is off the charts. The defense did simply. They're going to establish. Oh my God, Julie Blackjack was the gum I was trying to think of the name of. It's that black licorice anise flavored shit.
All done.
Woo.
Okay, you recognize this document?
Yes, I do.
What is this document?
This document is a report from DataTrack, our operating service for Planet Fitness. And this is the remote check-ins from September 1st, 2022 to September 3rd, 2022.
Okay, when you say remote check-in, please explain to us what this is, what
Okay.
that means.
So a remote check-in is anybody that is not based out of the specific location out of West Charleston signing in to the club. And so the reason why it's a remote check-in is because it is not the club that they originally signed up at.
Okay, what is the, and I'm going to direct your attention to more specifics within this document, but just trying to make a clear record concerning what this document is. This is a remote check-in, and this basically is when people go in, I'm assuming they have a fob or some other, maybe a gym card. They go in to sign to go in to work out at the gym. Fair to say?
That is correct.
And this document captures their signing in.
Yes, this document gets the time of what they checked in, their first and last name, their barcode and membership type, along with if they're allowed to enter.
Okay. When a person, and you would agree with me that this is a business document,
Yes,
and this is a business document that's kept in the ordinary course of business,
that is correct.
following the rules and procedures that govern the keeping of these documents for Planet Fitness.
That is also correct.
Now, you had said it was a remote check-in. Now, if a person, let's say, goes and signs in for a membership, let's say in the Decatur location or something with that, that would be the primary place where they filled out the paperwork. Is that correct?
That is correct.
But when you say a remote check-in, let's say a person buys a membership at Planet Fitness, let's say years before, but then lives near the Charleston site where you work. When they go and they sign in, it shows as being a remote check-in, but it doesn't mean they're checking in remotely. It means that they're just going to a different location from where they originally opened up their membership.
That could be, yeah, essentially, depending on if, the person moved from a different location where they originally signed up. For example, if someone was from, Wyoming and they recently moved to Las Vegas and they didn't transfer their membership, it would still show up as a remote check-in.
Understood. But in reviewing this document, which you've testified is kept in the ordinary course of business, this signifies that the names that are on this paper checked in at the club on between September 1st, 2022 and September 3rd, 2022.
That is correct.
I move for admission of Defense Exhibit T2.
No objections.
Do you have this document in front of you? If you could
Yes,
flip
I do.
through it with me.
Mhm.
Page 1, we have a list of names, and it shows the check-in times of those that checked in and basically worked out at your location. Fair to say?
That is correct.
Page 2, same question.
That is also correct.
Page 3,
That is also correct.
and page 4.
That is also correct.
Now, if you look at the bottom, and no need to say that person's name, it's not part of this case, but that person, it appears, was denied entry.
Mhm.
You have to say yes.
Yes, that's correct.
So would we presume, and based upon your knowledge, this person tried to get in and work out, but they were not able to do so?
Yes.
And there's a couple others.
They do in our state, and Laura had asked about having to give notice of an alibi defense. Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming, I don't know what the law is in Nevada, but I've never heard of a state where you can just drop an alibi on the state without some kind of notice prior to trial. So maybe they had notice. Maybe the state thinks his alibi is bullshit.
Same question, that were denied.
Mhm. And that
is.
is also correct for them.
You could flip to page 9. It would be September 2nd, 2022, at 12:09 p.m.
Yes, I see it.
Who checked in?
Can I get the time again, sir?
Yes, 12:09 p.m.
That is going to be Robert R. Tellis.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Wait, what time do you check in?
Examination.
What time do you say you checked in?
Mr. Jameson, maybe you can help me out. What page did you just look on?
I was on page 9 of 30.
Thank you. I'm going to put defense exhibit. What number is it?
What is it,
The-
the Defendant Fitness?
Uh-huh.
That's T2.
Oh, thank you. T2. Sir, can you see that on the, well, you have a copy, I know, but can you see it on the screen in front of you as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you're reading this record as, see my finger here, it says 9/2 at 12:09 p.m., is that correct?
That is correct.
And then it has the name of Mr. Tellis and then the barcode associated with his membership, is that correct?
That is correct.
Now, I think you said this on direct examination, but your location is Charleston and Rampart?
Charleston and the crossroad is Fort Apache.
Fort Apache, sorry. And there's a Whole Foods, Barnes and Noble in there, and
That is correct.
when people, I think you said, do a remote check-in, it means that their primary Planet Fitness is not the one they're going to at that particular day?
Correction, it's going to be not their home club where they originally signed up
Oh,
at.
were they? Okay. But if they happen to work out there a lot, that would be okay as long as they're still a member of Planet Fitness.
Yes, if they're a Black Card member, they have access to any location.
Okay. And so when you like come into Planet Fitness and this kind of record is produced, is it a card that you use to check in, or when it's the remote check-in, or any kind of check-in, I guess?
So for check-ins, we have multiple ways of checking in. One would be through our Planet Fitness app. The second would be a key tag. And if the barcode is a phone number, they would be able to just give a phone number to check in.
Okay. And so you mentioned an app. I would assume you mean an app on your phone?
Yes, the app, Planet Fitness application that you would find on Google Play Store or App Store.
Okay. So that's a way that you can remotely check in from your phone?
Yes, it would access a QR code that is basically your barcode for you to check in, that pulls up your information.
And then that QR code, that's like one of those squares that we see, they would have to show that to you or one of the people you supervise as they come in the gym?
Yes, ma'am. They would scan in at the front desk.
Okay. And that's one way you can get in, is if you have that app on your phone, that QR code will tell yourself or your employees that they're allowed to come in and work out.
Yes.
And then another way, I think you said, is if there's they have an actual Planet Fitness card.
Yes. It was discontinued a while back, but we did have little key tags that you're able to attach to a keychain to check in.
And those two ways, do they show up the same way on this record?
Yes, but also there could be a discrepancy from the barcode. If you look at the document, specifically on page 9, you see that there is some that look like a phone number and some that are just a long series of digits.
Okay.
Most likely, we would assume that everybody has the app, but there could be a couple of members that do have a barcode still and never originally changed it.
Okay. And you actually got to my next question. I would assume in 2022, most people are doing this with their phone on the app because that's easier to do.
That is correct.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
Just so we're clear though, based upon your review of these documents, you're unable to say how Mr. Tellis checked in, but did he check in?
Yes.
And you have to appear in person physically and scan it or be viewed, inspected basically before you go in.
That is correct.
Thank you, sir. I have no further questions.
Anyone cross?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
for the jurors.
Oh, I'm sorry. You just stand by.
I mean, they seriously didn't ask, the state didn't ask if you have cameras in the gym. I think that there's no way in hell that they don't have cameras in the gym. Like, if this dude had gone into that gym, you don't think that he would have gone and procured the video or at least sent a letter to preserve the video? Fail to buy. Fail to buy. Too late? Like, what do you mean? It was too late. Well, then they should have asked the questions. How long do you preserve the video? I mean, I think he was arrested within 3 days, right? He was arrested on the 5th or the 7th, one of the two. Like, I mean, gaping holes. Oh, thank God. The jury's asking a question. So they're going to ask the common sense question. I'm assuming. Do you have cameras? Oh, do you have a height requirements for certain equipment? Is that the question?
Okay, a question from a juror. It's been marked as court's exhibit number 19. Does your location have cameras that cover the check-in area? And if so, has that footage been requested by authorities?
Oh.
We do have cameras at the front desk where you're able to see.
Wow.
to my knowledge, I know that we have, so much space that where we can go back in time to review footage. And since we're talking 2022, we do not have that footage.
Thank you. Is there any follow-up, Mr. Draskevich?
Are you aware of a request that was made by the defense in this case to get that footage?
Yes.
And it was not available?
Yes.
Yeah, when
Thank
was
you.
that request made there, big guy?
Ms. Whitley?
That's what I want to know.
Sir, when was that request made?
There you go.
I do not remember the day.
Okay, thank you.
Like 2 weeks ago.
Thank you very much for your testimony here today. You may step down. You are excused from your subpoena. Thank you very much for being here.
You're welcome.
So I'll tell you
Right,
what.
at this time, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a short recess, probably about a 5-minute recess. During this recess, you're admonished not to discuss or communicate.
If I'm Telus and they've arrested me, and if my wife hasn't filed for divorce yet, I'm saying, and I went to the gym, I'm saying, babe, my entire life depends on you going to the gym and getting the video of me being there at 12:09 p.m. Like, post haste. I need you to go there immediately. Whatever you're doing, I don't give a shit. Oh, you're at the hair getting your hair did? No, fuck. I need to go to the gym right now. That's like the fact that didn't happen. Oh, come on, dude. This guy did it on the app, no doubt.
Okay, with anyone,
Alibi.
including your fellow jurors, in any way regarding the case or its merits, either by voice, phone, email, text, internet, or other means of communication or social media, read, watch, or listen to any news or media accounts or commentary about the case, do any research, consult dictionaries, the internet, or reference materials, do any investigation, test a theory, recreate any aspect of the case, or in any other way investigate or learn about the case on your own, or form or express any opinion regarding the case till it's finally submitted to you. Thank you very much, and we're in recess.
Thank you all. Rise for next hearing.
When you guys were talking about freshen up, I forgot what the name of that gum with that gooey shit in the middle was. It was in the 80s. And of course it was freshen up. That was with the gooey center. Oh, what? Oh, Scout's home. All right. The judge's hair is very, very swoopy today. It is. I like to call her good hair Nancy Grace. She got that. She looks a lot like Nancy Grace. Sans the glasses, but with her hair dead. Her hair dead. Yeah. So, watching the both of the Scott Peterson documentaries, Nancy Grace went out of her way to convict Peterson in the press. I'll tell you that. Either way, whichever way you fall on that thing, the media on that case was, from the defense side of it, and Garagos to this day swears up and down, like all of them do, swear up and down that guy's innocent. So I don't know. I watched both of them. I think I'm going to do a live. I'm going to try to do one tomorrow night on our take on it. Two very, very different perspectives. The Peacock one was obviously Scott interviewing through the video jail phone in 15-minute increments, probably over a 6-month period or whatever. And Netflix was very, very much he's guilty. Just put it this way. Lacey's family, the Rocas, refused to appear on the Peacock and were featured on the Netflix. So that kind of tells you where they're at in terms of that. But yeah, they were both interesting. Is that worth watching, Sarah? The A&E one? I may have seen it. I've seen like every documentary ever made. It's like all I ever watch. Big documentary nerd. So 5-minute break. So is she the second witness? So they've had 3 witnesses. They must be discussing scheduling right now. So either she's called them up to the bench. She's saying, is your client testifying? He's saying yes. Exactly, Jay. Exactly. Documentaries to me is my dad to Moneyball, which is insidious at this point. Like it's like trying to quit smoking for my dad. Like trying not to watch Moneyball is he's addicted to that movie. He's like, it's a good movie. I'm like, it's a great movie. I mean, but 3 times a week, bro? It's crazy. It's crazy. He was trying to remember the name of a movie today during lunch. I found it for him. I'm hoping that when I walk down, that's what he's watching and not Moneyball. You know, you have to worry. You have to worry about your people when they watch the same movie repeatedly. I mean, like there's movies I've watched many, many times, but 2, 3 times. Like if we leave them alone for a couple days, we'll come back. You're like, yeah, I watched all the baseball movies. You know, got your Field of Dreams, like all the Costner, like the trifecta of Costner movies, baseball movies. Hey, what's up, smooches? Did your sister drop the shoes off?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Yeah, I lost track as soon as I saw Jay's comments. But what I was saying was, how'd it go, Bubs? Good?
Yeah.
Good. Was that they're up there discussing it. Like, if you're the defense, like you're not wanting to split it up into 2 days. Like you're wanting to pull the Band-Aid off, like get them up there, let the cross take place. Or in the event that he thinks that the direct's going to go past the time that she's willing to go, he's certainly not going to want to split that up into 2 days. So I'm sure that's what they're discussing now at the bench because it was a pretty short break. So, I mean, it's only 3:11 there. So, I mean, theoretically, she's been going to about 5. It's 2 hours. I mean, how long can this guy be on the stand? How long was Murdoch on there? It seemed like days. All the tearless snotting. Oof. It's brutal. It's brutal. So yeah, like, and I get the distinct impression they don't have any other witnesses available to them to testify today. So, you know, this is housekeeping. It's what you do in trials. Happens all the time. Happens all the time. Oh, thanks, Suzanne. I appreciate that. Yeah, some people have told me how much they appreciate my takes, which I beyond appreciate. It's good to know, you know. It's like you never know sitting here just yapping. People might like, what's this guy talking about? Like, why does this guy talk all the time? What the hell? He never says anything interesting. So it makes me feel all warm and fuzzy when y'all let me know that you enjoy the content. Thank you very much. It means a lot to me. So here, like full transparency, I might have to try to recruit Jay for Friday if this thing goes. I've been telling you guys, I'm Lauren Pachenko is flying in tomorrow night, and Friday we are driving down for a prison visit with Julie Beverly, and then we're driving all the way down to Marion, which is close to like the tip of Illinois, Southern Illinois. So like I'm really hoping that they wrap this thing tomorrow and that we're just on a jury watch, because I could probably get Allie or Jay to just kind of keep an eye out, and then Jay can go on his channel if they get the jury watch. So you all aren't left hanging. Like, how horrible would it be if I bailed on the result of the trial? It'd be pretty lame. Everybody would unsub. I'd wake up and go from like 23 to like 4 subs. I'd be like, oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah, I got to tell you, he's got an interview Friday. I think it's via Zoom. Don't quote me on that. But I'm sure if he's available, he'll sub in for me, because he's that kind of guy. He's just that kind of guy. Yeah, I mean, like Allie is trying to do real work. Like she's got real lawyer work she's been doing this week. So I was lucky to peel her away for 45 minutes today or so. No, not Chris Vaughn, but I'm definitely looking at that case. Like that's one of those scary, family annihilation cases where, like I said, my podcast is my baby. Like that's the thing I created the YouTube, which I ended up loving. I love doing this actually. But I initially did it because I wanted to really promote the podcast. I wanted to create a larger audience and draw them into listening to the podcast. But then I ended up loving YouTube. I spend as much time, if not more, working on content for YouTube, which I dig. I really, really dig it. I love the interaction with you guys. That's what I love most about it, more than anything else. That's why for me, it would be hard to do videos like exclusively, because I so enjoy chatting with you guys. As you could tell, like I'm super responsive in the chat. I probably chat too much where I don't listen to everything that's being said during the trial. Because frankly, if I'm being honest, sometimes you guys are way, way more interesting than what's going on at trial. So I'd say almost 90% of the time, you guys are way, way more interesting than what's going on at trial. So, for me, like doing videos, yeah, I can premiere it and hang in the chat and bullshit, but I really love being live. I love the live interaction. I just think it's a really cool way to spend the day. I can't think of anything else I'd rather do than hang out with y'all. So there's that. Yes, Louisiana girl, I have considered uploading the podcast. So here's the deal, which I just haven't taken the time to figure it out. Is that I've got a company that sells my ad space in my podcast. So when I do host read ads and YouTube is weird because they always insert ads. So I've got to figure out how I can do it. Cause I would love, love, love to upload. I mean, I've got 200 plus podcast episodes. Like Gacy is 36 episodes in Epic. Garcia, I'm working on episode 60, and that's one season. I made a terrible mistake. Instead of breaking it into like 4 seasons or 5 seasons, 10 episodes a piece, giving myself like a nice little gap in time to make a bunch of episodes so that I could drop them more timely. What do you mean, Bob? Can you do read on ads? Yeah, I do host read ads all the time. I'm like, Meg, do you not listen to my podcast, girl? What? It's outrageous. I can't believe that. You should definitely, I definitely do host read ads. So you can imagine, they're probably I think they're pretty good. I can go into my podcast voice and just crush host read ads. So I do quite a few host read ads. They're good. That's why I was telling Jay. I'm like, dude, you need to go the opposite direction. You need to turn your already made content, such as all the amazing women who rock. Just like he's got so much great content, and Jay's very, very good about keeping his lives when he has guests to an hour, and that translates into a perfect length podcast episode. So it would be very easy for him to get an RSS feed, which is free. And at that point, we just promote the hell out of his podcast. I'd suggest we come up with a different name than JBN. It would be like JBN would be the production company. So, like that would be Jay's production company. So like mine is Modified Sound, like MOTTAFIED, which we think is super cute. And then when Jay starts getting the downloads, which will be just bullying the hell out of you guys to download the shit out of Jay's shit. At that point, when he starts getting the numbers, which can happen quickly, can happen very, very quickly, he can start doing host read ads. I think that will be enough money to supplement until we both build our YouTube empires to where he doesn't have to go get some whack job somewhere. So that's the plan. I keep trying to spit it to him, but he's got to do what he's got to do right now. And he knows best what he's got to do for his family. So all I could do is love and support him and give him, ideas of ways that I think that we can work around the thought of Jay having to get on the fucking train every day and go to some job he hates. It's heartbreaking. I mean, it's the same with me though. You know, like I'm like literally in the same spot. Like the thought of having to go back to practicing law would just crush me. It would crush me. So I'm struggle bussing. I'm struggle bussing to you know, keep this thing rolling too. So, but I'm gonna hold out. I'm gonna hold out. They're gonna have to peel this thing out of my dead cold hands before I go back. So, but you know, and like Jay was saying, like for him, it's really the bennies. You know, it's like when Ethan had that like just freak accident, and it cost a fortune in this country to get medical care. Like it's crippling, really. So, you know, I mean, the need for bennies is a real thing. So I certainly get that. I certainly get that. I did for a long time, Maya, but after 22 years, not so much. It's like I was a criminal defense lawyer. Like if you do that for 20 years, I can count on like one hand lawyers that I personally know, and I know many lawyers that still enjoy doing it. And those are typically guys that you know, have really like fallen into a niche where, you know, that it's just kind of like mill law, like where they don't really have to do much anymore. It's just kind of like churning cases. Like some guys that I know that have like DUI practices that just churn DUIs, you know, they can make a bunch of money. They don't really have to do much work. Like the shit Allie and I handles like the real McCoy stuff, and it's rough. Like I'm telling you, Garcia took 4 years off my law career life. Like it did. It was just one of those cases. It's like, like between Gacy and Garcia for my dad, like those two knocked him out. Like that was he was done. You know, he was just done with it. He couldn't handle like that. The Garcia thing was just, it was such a brutal case. And they just, the press on that. And it's like this next episode, which I've been writing for Garcia, you know, I've been trying to really give it from the perspective of a defense attorney, how the things that we have to do to prepare a case for trial, to kind of behind the scenes look, and, you know, but I like to really kind of focus on the impact of the media on cases. And while nationally that wasn't like a Scott Peterson case, in Omaha it was the biggest case ever. So in the press there was convicting the shit out of our guy. They were flame throwing us because we were out of town attorneys, and, you know, and we're fighters, you know, so it's like, so I'm like always trying to highlight, like I'll read full articles from the Omaha World Herald. Like I subscribed to their archive so I could pull those old articles up so I could read directly the shit that they were putting in print that was just convicting our client. Like when we get to the jury selection in that case, I think they sent out 1,000 jury questionnaires. Like that size of a jury pool is beyond, because like everyone realized how high publicity it was in that town, and we had lost our motion for a change of venue. So we were stuck trying it in that county, and we were getting no favorable press, none, whether it be print, whether it be media, it didn't matter. Like everybody was convicting our guy based on just the state's theory of the case. That was it. They didn't have any idea what the evidence was. So, but it, like, you know, it was like bifold articles of the timeline of how our guy did it. It's like, I'm like, oh my God, you know, so it was brutal. You know, but I like to highlight stuff like that because that's a real thing that we have to contend with as defense attorneys. If you're on a high profile case, which goes back to my point about Scott Peterson, it's like the guy was a cheating piece of shit, you know, and when I forget what her name is, Amber Fry, like the woman that he was sleeping with, when she shows up and like calls in, she's like, oh, well, you know, I'm his girlfriend or mistress, whatever you want to call it. You know, that blew the, like, he was done. And he was done. And like I saw in both documentaries, they had the same jurors, the same 2 or 3 jurors. They had one other one on the Peacock one that they did not have on the Netflix. And both these guys were at a conference table. They're like, oh, no. It's like, no, if cheating was a prerequisite for murder, everybody'd be, suspected of murder. It's like, I'm like, nah, this wasn't that. This wasn't that. This was like, as soon as it became known that he was cheating on his 8.5-month pregnant wife, like everyone hated him like immediately and decided that he was guilty, because really when you look at it, I'm just telling you, they didn't have much evidence on the guy other than it looked bad, and the fact that
The hearing is taking place outside the presence of the jury panel.
Okay, let's see what's
Mr.
going.
Truskovich.
Your Honor, our final witness is Mr. Robert Tellis.
Final witness.
I've confirmed with Rob Bear, and we're going to ask the court's permission to allow him to testify by narrative.
Okay,
By narrative.
that's fine. Anything else before we bring the jury panel in?
Nothing beyond the state, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Tellis can take the stand.
Wow. All right. So that's interesting. So essentially what that means is that he's going to just let him tell the story. Like it's not going to be like your typical direct examination wherein he's asking questions. They're going to allow him to just tell a story. Wow. This is going to be good. This is going to be good. It looks like it's going right now. So let's go. Let's go. Last witness too.
Jury panel. All right, we'll swear. I'll stand in front of the panel. He wants all the exhibits?
Or this is our copy of them. Then my state have.
As far as
Does
the
he have-
exhibits go, I mean, if he needs to use the exhibits that we've been.
Wow.
by stipulation,
Game on.
I don't have an objection to him using.
Jay, you
those
want to jump
exhibits.
on?
It seems like he may have notes though in front of him. So if he's using those notes, we're gonna need it.
And just so the record's clear, Mr. Truss, are you intending on referring to your notes in the course of your testimony?
Yes, sir.
Then I'm gonna need a copy of this.
I'm providing the state a copy.
Oh,
Mr. Tellis' notes.
we're ready.
Does Mr. Draskovich have a copy of the defendant's exhibit list with him that I provided earlier? Okay.
Yes, thank you very much.
When I
Hey,
appreciate
Mr. Tellis, you have a copy of the exhibit list?
I've written those exhibit numbers next to my, so I'm good on that and everything, as long as I can read my writing.
When he's ready for them, I will pull them.
And Your Honor, in order for this to proceed smoothly, when he refers to it, when Mr. Tellis refers to an exhibit, shall either myself or even.
Yeah, Haley told me that she will make sure the record's clear. Okay, does the state stipulate to the presence of the panel? Mr. Traskovich?
Thank you.
Yep, you'll stipulate.
We'll stipulate.
All right. Mr. Traskovich, you're gonna call Mr.
Your
Tellis?
Honor, the defense calls Mr. Robert Tellis.
Please raise your right hand. You do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may be seated. Please state and spell your first and last name for the record.
Robert Bayes. The first name is Robert. The last name is Telles.
Mr. Tellis, the state is going to allow you, or I think the court is going to allow you to testify by way of narration. So please tell us, begin with your story, sir.
Thank you, sir. And so, first of all, and excuse me, I'm obviously a little nervous. This is it's a day I've been waiting for nearly 2 years. This thing's been kind of a nightmare, frankly.
What up?
What up? Here we go.
Again, I want to thank you for being here. And right now,
We
I
didn't get the whole gang back there. I
unequivocally,
think I got Allie to
I'm
pop up
innocent.
too. So
Nice.
I didn't kill Mr. Gurman. And I've got a lot to share with you all. There's been a lot of testimony, and my concern is making sure that you hear what I think about all these things, and what would the concerns that I have with some of these things that have been brought up. So during my testimony, I'm going to be sharing opinions. I know that folks like Zach Schilling and Mr. Mogg shared their opinions with you, and these opinions were almost, I guess you could say, argumentative in a sense, right? Basically, Zach Schilling said, well, I'm an expert on shoes, and I think that those shoes that the killer was wearing are the same ones that I've seen the shit wearing all the time, right? So he's arguing that he's an expert and you should believe him. And I think the same goes for Mr. Mogg, right? So I think that when I share an opinion with you, someone might say it's argumentative. And when I say something, I guess I specifically mean the state. But I think that when I share an opinion with you, that's my right. And it's your right to decide whether or not you agree with my opinion or not, whether you want to adopt my opinion or not. So I'm just hoping that, I'm not stopped from sharing with you
get the gang
what I
back
have to
together.
say.
Love it.
Gang's here.
Hey, Jay.
I guess
Hey.
right off the bat, I'll share an opinion with you. The medical examiner testified about how Mr. Gurman was murdered. And, I had to see pictures of Mr. Gurman's body, in preparation for the case. And it's obviously it's ugly. But when the medical examiner testified, that's the first time I'd learned how Mr. Gurman was murdered. Now, I think it's the way that he was murdered speaks to, I think, something or someone who knows what they're doing.
Oh, wow. What an idiot.
The idea that Mr. Gurman's throat was slashed and his heart was stabbed.
I'd
think
be
that's
so put off by this.
I don't know if anybody could just do that.
It's
Right,
wild.
without
It's a
some
straight
kind of
narrative with no
training,
question.
some kind of
Yeah.
expertise.
Straight
So,
narrative, babe.
And I'm
No
not.
questions.
I'm personally not combat trained. I've,
What?
and none of that. So it seems to me that
For how long?
when I heard that, I thought,
Whole thing.
my God,
It's telling a story.
so that's, I guess, one example of like the type of opinion I'll be sharing with you. And I want to also provide relevant facts,
Is
the
he
truth, and
co-counsel?
things that I think are going to tend to disprove a lot.
No. If you want to talk, pause it because I want to. I think everybody wants to hear every word of this.
Sorry.
Pause
Is
it.
he co-counsel?
I don't think so, but they made a motion for him to be able to testify via a narrative as opposed to a direct, and apparently, state doesn't give a shit.
I
right?
didn't know that. I didn't
Yeah.
realize. Wow.
So they took a break, and I think they made an oral motion. I don't know. It could have been written, but they took about a 5 to 10 minute break, and they came back, and the judge said
Did
that.
he say his name is Tellez?
Come on, dude.
Sorry.
It is Tellez. Out of all the shit you can care about,
I know. I was just
you call him whatever you want, baby. I call him Tellez because that's what it is.
A lot of what has been said. And also when it comes to some of the witnesses, some of the documents that I'm going to try to get in are going to kind of go to, whether or not they're being truthful. So again, I'm hoping that I'll be able to get those documents into. I guess we'll see how that goes as well. First, I want to kind of go into my background a little bit. So out of high school, I got a job at a small computer store and building computers, that type of thing. And then I got an opportunity to work in IT, right? Information technology, working as a network technician. The .com crash occurred, and from there I ended up going into property management. And I enjoyed that. I became a leasing agent, then an assistant manager, then a manager. Then I took a strange turn and got into maintenance, fixing stuff inside apartments, that type of thing. And from there, started to get involved in air conditioners. So then I became an HVAC technician, an air conditioning technician. And it was
All right, I'm sorry, but babe, like this whole narrative thing has just blown my mind. I've
Well,
never
I'm-
seen a defendant do that. Do you think that it's possible that his counsel was not comfortable with what his client wanted him to question, and then that's why? Meaning,
Right.
I'm not going to ask what you want me to ask because I'm not on board with this defense.
Right. I'm not putting you on to commit perjury.
Right, whatever the case may be. So
Wait,
that's a distinct
Did
possibility.
you hear an argument for this
We did
narrative?
not. We did not.
Was
They-
it something that happened just recently,
She-
or
It happened today. It happened right before he got on. That's why I said they took a 5 to 10 minute break.
cross will be normal,
And
people?
The cross will be normal. The cross will be normal. And when they allow a defendant to just puke out a whole story, this thing's gonna be a bloodbath.
Bob,
But
real
there's-
quick. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Al.
No, Jay, you go.
No, I was going to say two things. Just when you thought it couldn't get worse than Murdoch, this is going to be fucking worse than Murdoch. And second of all, if I'm on the jury, if this guy does this, I'm thinking, who the fuck does he think he is? That he's just
Exactly.
smarter than every defendant in the history of the world, and he's not going to answer
100%.
questions, and he's just going to spit shit at us like he's a politician. People hate politicians. He's a politician. He's going to do a campaign speech for his fucking defense. This guy's done. I mean,
I think this. I agree 100%. Jay, I was thinking the same thing. Like, this jury has got to be thinking this guy's an asshole, and his whole thing about that speaks to someone who knows what they're doing, and I mean, the kind of person that would do such a thing.
Yeah,
Surprised
he's
there's-
like super entitled guy. Like he gets new the special rules for Bobby Tejas. All right, well, let's get into it. We're
but
getting
I
the
can't
whole life
imagine-
story. We're getting the whole life story.
I can't imagine the written argument or the argument by the defense lawyer. Clearly, it could not have been, I can't put him on due to my, rules of ethics or anything like that. He can't imply that the guy is getting on the stand to lie. So I don't know
Right.
what the real reason is.
I don't know. It's crazy. I've
Bob-
never heard of it. Like,
Go ahead,
happen.
Jay.
I was just going to say real quick, folks, this is share it out, Twitter, Facebook,
Yeah, I'm
wherever
about to
you
do the
follow stuff.
same.
Let people know to come watch this here because this is really unheard of. Let your friends and let people know, get them in here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just hoping that he slips into full Dr. Evil. Like at some point when I was insolent, I was placed in a burlap sack, beaten with reeds. We'll see. We'll see if it comes. We'll see. We can only hope.
Self-study. All right. I took a course for the EPA certification, which is, the license that you're required in order to handle refrigerant, like Freon, those types of things. I kind of learned the basics of air conditioning on my own. And the only reason I say it is, going along is I've kind of developed this analytical mind, right? And so that led to me becoming an attorney. And so then that even built more on that analytical mind, where I think about, all the things, all the things wrong in this case. And you add on top of that, the fact that I've been sitting in a cell for close to 2 years. So I've had a lot of time to think about a lot of these issues. So again, I think I'm going to point out some strange things about this case. But anyway, going back to my background. So became an HVAC technician. I started working at the College of Southern Nevada. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to name check I was going to say local community college. Sorry, I'm very nervous. Excuse me. So I started working at CSN, managing a team, and I was doing that by day. And I went to law school at night. They have a part-time program at Boyd School, or they did then anyway. I don't know if they still have it, but I went through law school at night. But before I got into law school, I met my wife online. We started dating. I got into law school. We got married. We had our daughter together. So by this point, I had a stepson. I had my daughter from a previous marriage, and my wife and I had our daughter together. When I got out of law school, I opened my own probate firm, or my own law firm, and I focused on probate law. Now, you heard this term earlier from Detective Jappy, probate, and also, of course, a couple of other witnesses. And, I do have a correction for, I guess, the way that Detective Jappy characterized probate law, but I'll get into that as we discuss further Compass Realty. So I want to go from here, from my probate work into how I became the public administrator. I was, again, a probate attorney, working cases for families. And John Cahill, the public administrator at the time, he saw me in court and, saw that I was, kind of a new face. And so he started giving me a couple of cases here and there. He worked with various attorneys throughout town. So I started doing some work for him. And I can't remember exactly how long I've been working for him, at least a few months, maybe 6 months. But I was part of this volunteer group. And we had these weekly meetings where we would bring people in to speak, right? And the group was very interested in learning about things happening in Vegas, right? So I thought, well, gosh, getting the Clark County Public Administrator in to speak would be really great because nobody knows what this guy does.
Yes.
When you hear the title Clark County Public Administrator, a lot of people think that we're talking about the guy who runs the whole county or something, right? I mean, that's oftentimes when I was in the office, I had these emails from people telling me to fix this on that side of town or this, that, whatever issue, right? So it's the public administrator, is the probate administrator for the county. And again, it's basically the office that safeguards property until family can step in. Because again, when the coroner got there, the coroner couldn't find the family. So it's our job to do the safeguarding. And if for some reason the family can't or does not want to do the administration, our office takes over and does that administration. So, I got in there, hit the ground running. We're working. I find out at a certain point as I'm going to court that there's a situation with some of these private administrators. A private administrator is, when we talk about them, is anybody who is handling administrations or like I'd say private corporate administrators, because any family member could be a private administrator, right? The probate commissioner, who is basically an appointee of the probate judges, he had these concerns with some of these folks, right? And I was in a hearing one day where he asked me to take a look at a case, and the attorney for one of these guys or one of these firms was there, and we were talking, and he told me that that his client had been doing these things for so much time, and that the prior public administrator didn't have a concern with it. And I asked him, well, where are the this is the first I'm hearing about this. He said, well, we've been mailing your office notices every time that we come to court. And so just FYI, the fact that these folks were required to send me notices was ordered by the probate commissioner because he was very troubled by what he saw going on with this firm. And so I told him, no, I've been at this for maybe 7-8 months, and this is the first I'm hearing of it. He said, oh, no, I promise we're sending you every notice. So I get to the office, and I find out that, at the direction of the prior public administrator, the office had been throwing away all of those documents, and they just basically continued on with that process of just throwing the documents away. And I told my staff, we're not doing that anymore. I need to look at these. I need to see why the probate commissioner was so concerned.
Only guilty man in Shawshank.
So I did an analysis, and I found that there were some troubling concerns. I created a spreadsheet, and I guess at this point I want to see if I could share X2.
Got a fucking PowerPoint or something?
I feel like he decided he wanted to co-counsel. This is how you would if you're representing yourself. I think that's what's going on.
You know, Bob, you talked about how narcissists get thrown around too much. This is a fucking
This
narcissist
guy's
textbook.
legit. This guy's a legit narcissist. I mean, it's too widely used now. It's like that in what's the one I always fuck up, babe? Gaslighting. Everybody's gaslighting. Everybody's a narcissist. This guy straight up narcissist.
Like he legit
So
thinks like he's going to
Or,
convince them. Sorry,
if
go
you need me to
ahead.
build any foundation, I can do that.
Is he going to approach?
Approach. Can I approach myself? He'll get down off the witness bench, go in and
Well,
hello,
so then
sir.
maybe-
Sir, yes, he'll run back.
Maybe this wasn't on the basis of him representing himself, or he would be.
Right. That makes sense. He would be up there.
Right.
I've never seen anything like this.
I've never seen anything like this either.
Only guilty man in Shawshank.
I was trying to figure out if that's like a thing in Nevada. Like you have the right to.
I've never seen nor heard of anybody doing this. Like this guy's going to go on forever. Like we're getting the whole like, is his plan to just like not really provide any answers as to why his fingers fucked up? And he's the last guy, babe. No DNA expert. Not addressing it.
I can't even.
So then,
I mean, like, I want a mock trial.
of course,
This
absolutely,
trial.
Mayor. And
Gee,
again, this
just ignore.
goes to
Completely
the theory
ignore.
of my case, right? You know,
yeah.
somebody framed me for
Smart.
this,
Oh, here.
and I believe that it's Compass Realty, and I believe that it's for the work that I've done against them. And this document here
You were
shows
off.
the start of the work that I began against them. You're going to hear much more about the things that I did and the things that they did.
From who?
And so, again, this spreadsheet, I think really, it's the beginning. And so I'd ask if I could please have it admitted.
Oh, I can't wait to see it.
Two is being proposed. Is there
So
any
he is
further
he
objection?
asked to have it admitted.
All right, so that's his. He just flat out, he's decided a corporation framed him. So the whole corporation, all of them, all of the employees of Compass Realty gathered together one night and said, "Well,
Yeah,
fuck this
aspiring.
guy.
I hit
This
the wrong
guy,
button.
this guy."
Yeah.
I mean, look, Compass, like
Somebody was a former cop. Somebody was a former cop.
somebody over at Compass.
I'm 90% sure.
Maybe
Someone
it's-
somewhere.
Maybe is that Jaffe or Jappy or whatever?
Maybe it was that person.
I don't
But
know.
still, you got to get to the you're not just like having even the argument that like, okay, she somehow got a friend cop to plant stuff in there, or she planted it.
Well, I mean, that's what he's going to have to get to. Like, because I think he'll probably be able to put, like, he's going to probably put on some evidence that he fucked Compass Realty out of a huge amount of money. Like,
Right,
I
he was
have
almost
no doubt
gone.
that he's going to be able to, like, the things that he was doing was costing Compass Mortgage massive amounts of money, you know, so much so that maybe somebody did have an axe to grind. It then moves into, okay,
Right,
well,
right,
who planted all the shit, bro?
right.
Like,
I
yeah.
agree. I've said all along that I think he has been convinced he can sell this narrative because the underlying narrative is 100% true. Like that he screwed over Compass and he did all these things. And I think he was doing it because he was trying to make a record to get higher up in office. Like, I don't think it was because he really wanted the
I mean,
family members to get more, but maybe he did. Maybe
look,
he was very
I wouldn't say that
altruistic.
mortgage companies are like the, you know, like the darkest, most evil corporations out there, but they're in the team photo. Like, I mean, we saw mortgage companies fucking people over during the crash. Like, it was unbelievable. Like, people just like losing you know. So, I mean, mortgage companies are a nice target in terms of, you know, you've got like the princes of darkness that Jay formerly worked for, which is insurance defense and insurance companies. They're the worst. And I think the mortgage companies are maybe a notch, maybe two notches below there. So, I mean, it's the right target. So I guess.
All right,
let's
so
see.
I'm just going to repeat because he asked himself to move something into evidence. Maybe even though he didn't get up and go to the sidebar, he was choosing to represent himself on. I don't know.
Maybe dude just left. Maybe his lawyer left. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna dip. I'm good.
No,
Take
he's
care.
out
Good
there.
luck, Chief.
It's out there.
Rumor is it's 2 5'2" gray boys that did it from the company.
I'm gonna go ahead and incorporate the Murdoch defense. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. Like the over under when he starts crying, I'm gonna say is an hour in.
When you view this exhibit, or X2, you'll see that there's a spreadsheet attached to it, and I just want to go over a few of the cases with you. And well, generally, first I'll tell you that, again, it was about 60 cases. And let's see here. And there was, for about 60 cases, there's about a $6 million difference between, and this is total, this is not each, but obviously, for those cases, there's about a $6 million total between the time that the estate sold the property to the time that the person who purchased it sold it to another person, right? And so that's quite a bit of money for that. I'll say that originally,
I would say
the
that's
estate
pittance for them.
in total sold the properties for $8.5 million.
Not the realtor.
And later, the people who sold it after, they sold it for about 14.5 million, right? So when you're talking about 8.5 million and then making 6 million, I mean, it's nearly double, right? From one sale to the next sale. And if you look at some of the homes on here, you'll see, for example, there's this one, Prince, Bobby. So the deceased's name is Bobby Prince.
Okay, just like I promise we won't constantly.
Yes,
but
the jury can ask them questions.
Yeah, I'm sure the jury can ask him
They're
questions.
probably thinking of ones right now.
And I'm sure that the state can object. All the other rules of law still apply, their trial rule. So, but just for context, I just did a simple Google search for the net worth. So Compass Inc., their net worth is $2.32 billion. $6 million is a drop in the bucket. I can't see anybody getting murderous.
Right.
Defense rejected, guilty. Goodbye, sir. Take care. It's been a good day.
But does Compass have more than, Compass Realty just one little aspect of it?
Well, see, this is not like realtors, babe. Like this is like shit where people died intestate. And like,
but they're also handling the sale. They're still.
I don't think it's I think it's the company that's getting the net loss as opposed to like individual realtors is the argument that he's making. But I just wanted to give you some insight into what the value of that corporation is. All right.
The first jury question is going to be, sir, are you fucking kidding me?
The state sold the home on December 31st of 2018 for $232,000. And the next sale,
I don't know,
was done the same day.
Oh,
so the person who bought it resold it the same day for $50,000 more. Now, as administrators have a fiduciary duty to get the maximum value that they can for the estate. When I see a situation, and again, this is the most extreme one. I mean, I'm not saying that all of them are like this, but all of them are, there's a significant difference between the one price and the other price. But this is just the most extreme one is, for someone to be able to resell a property the same day for $50,000 more, it's just not right. So
Illinois, you can't even do that.
We'll come back to you, Laren.
And again, you'll see that, again, anywhere from 30 to 50% between the two sales when you review this exhibit.
Okay, sir, but how did they kill and frame?
This floored me, right, to see that this is going on.
Mm-hmm.
And immediately, all I knew was that there was something funny going on here. And what troubled me too is that the prior public administrator said, I'm not going to deal with it. I'm not going to do anything about it. Throw them in the trash. And I think that disturbs me because that's really the role of the Clark County Public Administrator, right? I think Compass Realty has made this argument that, oh, you know, that's not the jurisdiction of the public administrator. But if you think about it, you know, whether we are trying to secure property so someone can't jump through the window and steal everything in the house, or we're trying to stop somebody from stealing equity, I believe it's the same thing. And so that's, you know, I absolutely disagree with John Cahill. So we've got a duty to protect these estates, right? Whether it's, again, stopping criminals from getting into the houses and stealing stuff, or unscrupulous real estate agents
Business practices.
from trying to work the system.
I think that the state
So
just
I
didn't
started
want
to
to
object to
prosecute it.
all of these petitions. And as I told you before, it was the probate commissioner who told me, look, I need you to start looking at this. This doesn't seem right. And I asked him, I said, well, why can't you stop these? You know, I mean, not that I was saying like, I don't want to do it, but out of curiosity, why can't you? And he told me that that the law, and so I'll tell you right now, that, sorry, just going backwards just a bit, because I think now is a good time to talk about this independent administration. So independent administration is not a generally used form of probate. It's, you know, rarely used. What independent administration allows somebody to do is to sell houses without going through the regular court process. You basically circumvent the whole process. And so the reason that I didn't, you know, really look into it is I never had a need to use it. Because normally during the probate process, when somebody's selling a house, you've got to ask the court for permission. You give everybody notice. And you allow, when you do this, for the estate to get the best value. Because what happens is all of these folks out there who are interested in buying and flipping properties, whatever, they scour all of these listings. So if you ever go to probate court on a Friday, you'll see that, you know, they're real estate investors just all over the place, right? But so by publishing it, you ensure that you're going to get the best value possible. These people are watching and they're going to say, oh, you know what? Maybe there's an extra 20 grand I can squeeze out of that. I'm going to get in there and I'm going to go after it, right? And so like I said, it's good for the families. So, and it's transparent. So when somebody uses this Independent Administration Act, and they're a corporate probate administrator, that's concerning. Because basically what they're trying to say is, well, I want to sell this property out of this estate, but I don't want it to go through the regular process. I want to be able to sell it to this guy at this price, and that's it. And when they would use this type of law, the law says that if nobody objects, then the probate commissioner has to grant the petition. Right? So his hands were tied. So one of the things I did do later was I actually went to the legislature and raised my concerns. And, you know, there are folks in the legislature that agreed. And so we were able to change the laws so that I had greater watchdog capabilities in these situations, which I think only made this situation more dire for certain folks. And again, I'll get further into that. But so, you know, I began to go ahead and file objections to these petitions. And the probate commissioner pretty much granted my objections just about every time. Because in the regular law, you know, again, not independent administration, just generally, the public administrator has higher priority than all other people, except for family, right? And we would never step in the way of family. Family member wants to handle the estate, great. If we're in the middle of getting ready to handle a probate estate, and I'm sorry, you know, I know I'm talking as though I'm still there, but I think for the purposes of what I'm sharing with you, I'm just going to continue to do that. You know, we would say, okay, you know what, great. You know, maybe we have this fee or that fee that you got to pay. Could be a couple $100, but you know, we don't want to, you know, we're not here to take away anything from you. Happy to transfer it, right? And we got to, per the county's codes, or, you know, we've got to charge the fee, right? It's not something we just say, well, you know,
he will.
But like I said, it was never any any like real burden to pay the $150 to take over, especially when they're done liquidating, they're looking at thousands of dollars in the family's pocket. But again, it's their money, right? But when it came to, again, third-party administrators, if I saw that there was something strange going on, I stepped in. Now, if there's a third-party administrator who was, when I reviewed the petition, appeared to be above board, wasn't doing anything fishy, I didn't get involved, right? If they were utilizing the regular court process, they weren't, again, trying to hide anything, then great, more power to you. But the one company that was doing this over and over again, more than anybody else, was Compass Realty. And they were doing it through Thomas Moore. And so anytime one of Thomas Moore's petitions came through, the probate commissioner said, you've got to give it to the public administrator's office. And I think that's where that whole thing started way back, right? So as I was going at this and filing objections, they started to fight back in various ways. First, they started to threaten to sue me. They said, well, you're messing with our business, right? And I wasn't afraid of them because, what they were doing was not right. They started making complaints to my assistant county manager or, county management, trying to get my assistant county manager to stop me. And, we had meetings, he and I said, this is not okay. I'm not going to, I can't agree to that. No, So despite their complaints over and over again in the county, my county manager said, I can't do anything. He's the guy in charge, sorry. Then they started filing these false claims about me in court pleadings, saying that, I was trying to steal their business, that I was trying to steal it for myself. Now, at the time I was a salaried employee. Like some of the smaller counties, they have a setup where the public administrators, all they earn is a commission based on the estates they put through the process. Okay, but not so with Clark County. With Clark County, you get a paycheck and that's it. So I never received a commission off of any of the states that we administered, ever. So to say that, I was trying to do this to get something out of it was just false. Again, just trying to sling mud to see if they couldn't scare me off or do it. I don't know. Then.
Hey, I hate to pause this riveting testimony, but yeah, they'll definitely be able to cross him. There's definitely going to be a cross. And no, he's said nothing useful at this point. He's basically trying to say that somebody in the upper ranks of Compass Realty decided because his good work for the peoples cost them about $6 million at $2.3 billion corporations, exceptionally concerned about $6 million to the extent where they now have decided to go kill an innocent man. Frame him up for it. So
he should have just stopped at like the 6 million, because the story is getting so mundane that I can't believe anyone is thinking someone's going to murder someone over the story for the purposes of framing this guy instead of just murdering him, for God's sakes.
Well, if I'm Rob Schneider-Cuter, the first thing I'm asking him, like, sir, are you aware that Compass Mortgage is worth $2.3 billion? You think
they have to be able to get that into evidence? But I just want to reiterate Bob and I's initial thought, what Bob threw out there was, do we think he's doing this because he's afraid that he would that he was not going to be part of eliciting perjury or offering false evidence, to which we both thought, yeah, but at the same time, it cannot be the official reason for the ask. Like in the motion, maybe it's implied to the judge when a lawyer makes that motion, but a lawyer were ethically not allowed to say, he's gonna commit perjury, and I
right. We cannot put a right. We can't put a like. I mean, technically,
we can't even tell the court that that's the reason we want the narrative, because we can't rat him out.
Right, but he's getting up there to lie. So, like, I don't know.
But that is why we think the most likely reason that they're doing this. I just wonder what the reason was provided to the court. And that's why I thought, could it have been that he wanted to testify himself? But I think it was probably just like, we're having a difference, like narrative is going to work both because we're having a difference of, opinion of how this is going. And I think implied in the request is probably the fact that the guy is committing perjury.
Right. I think ultimately the argument from the defense, his lawyer must have been that I'm not in agreement with this theory of defense.
Well, he's been presenting this theory of defense.
Not really. Not really. What he did, like, he's the last guy. He put up a quasi alibi witness with the last person from the gym. He put on a character witness that, he wasn't an asshole on the job. He put on a psychiatrist or psychologist who, basically said just because he was trying to, self-harm, that is not consciousness of guilt. So he hasn't at all touched that with a 1,000-foot pole, actually.
He mentioned it in the opening, though.
I mean, but he knew what this dude was going to do, like with the narrative closing, or whatever you want to call this thing.
Right.
But Legal Mama had posted this. Sorry to block your face, babe. 1971 ABA, American Bar Association advisory opinion says a solution to a defense attorney faced with a client intent to commit perjury is the narrative approach, gives more protection to the attorney-client privilege. So
there you go. So you're
still, you cannot.
Right. Can't be what you say to the judge when you ask to allow a narrative.
It's like the same way, like if Allie and I are trying to withdraw from a case because our client stiffed us, like if they owe us a bunch of money, we can't go in and say we want out because our client didn't pay us. I mean, sometimes they're like, well, we're missing an important witness. Mr. Green didn't show up. So
that was old. We've never done that, but there have always been stories, old lawyer stories about people doing stuff.
Yeah. Like all the old lawyers who told me, don't never trust a lawyer with dirty shoes.
Yes, Shiraz, that is what we're saying, that this is the lawyer's way, that he isn't suborning perjury, but it could also be exactly what, there was somebody who said it. Oh, but that he's saying like he wants to present the story his way, which is why I was saying maybe it was also could have been an argument that he's counsel. So, but the fact that it was under seal, or it wasn't done publicly, implies it was a little bit more than that, So I think it's more speaking to the suborning perjury. Again, the official thing might have been something like, we have a drastic difference of opinion of how his testimony should be presented, what evidence should be presented. And so we think a narrative is the best way. And like I said, I kind of think that implies to the judge, like the judge is like, okay, I know what you're saying without you saying it because you're not allowed to say it.
Yeah. Like Mr. Crowley, point taken, like Morrissey getting on the stand may have blown my mind more than this. That was insane.
That was crazy.
That was insane.
I forgot about that. All right, but now I really do have to leave you guys because he's going to go on. Oh, wait, is Jay gone?
He probably just ran to the John or something.
All right, I'll wait till he comes back.
Mom?
All right,
yes.
She's getting on.
Is my pizza done?
Oh, I started the oven.
Oopsies. All right, love you, babe. Bye.
I think I put the pizza in.
All right. Little family time.
In early 2022, about March 2022, I approached Steve Wolfson. Now, he and I and other elected department heads, we would have regular meetings and we would coordinate. And elections were around the corner, so we started talking about what ideas do you have? What ideas do you have? That type of thing, right? And during one of our meetings, I had mentioned that I had this concern with this company. About a year before, I had raised the issue with the Attorney General's office, and apparently they didn't see where the wrong was. But the weird thing about that was that they
can you
took
pause
less
just
than a
real
month
quick
for the investigation, and so I don't know.
Sorry, I got kicked. I don't know what happened. It was like, you have no service. And I'm like, what the fuck? But anyway, I just wanted real quick. I know you gave your theory is what the prosecution's going to say. And this is what I think they're going to say. They're going to say, Mr. Tellis, What you've just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I've ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered rational thoughts. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to you. That would be, and just end it right there. Just end it right there.
Drop the fucking mic. Sir, have you ever seen Billy Madison? Because I'm about to Billy Madison your ass right now.
Oh, if the Attorney General thought, well, we don't get it, we don't see how this is crime or what, but I think about a month later, Compass Realty had a letter in hand saying that they didn't see any wrongdoing. Like I said, to me, that was just weird. And again, I will get into why this is not just about mail. I think Detective Jaffe said, "Oh, this is about mailings." No, it's way worse than that, in my opinion. So I told Mr. Wolfson about the situation. You know, and he's got these guys who are again from one sale to the next. I mean, we're looking at anywhere again close to the 50%. You know, and he's like, well, okay. Like, and I asked him, well, can you do an investigation? He said, well, that's not our department. I mean, we don't do investigations. Because, I thought, well, the AG does investigations. Maybe the DA does too. He said, no, we don't do that, but I know someone who can help you. There's this guy I know in public corruption, Derek Jett, and I'll put you in touch with him. Mr. Jaffe, I don't know if it was a day or two later, calls me. We discuss the case on the phone. We set up a meeting. I go down there with a package with all of my materials. And I actually included a letter to him with that. A letter to him that kind of highlighted some of the concerns. And so I'd like to share J1. It was a letter to Detective Jaffe.
Do you want to approach?
Oh, did we have an approachal? All right. Good. Jay's here. Jay is here, so he will appreciate this. Of course, he's not on for us to do our head bobs. All right. It's like we're like that. Remember that old SNL skit where the two
J1
guys.
has been admitted.
Thank you. And so one of the things that I had noted in this letter, and again, it's a 4-page letter, like I said, getting into detail about what had been going on and what, well, I guess you'll see it. But one of the issues I noted was this estate of James Clark. And I noted that in this case, we found that Thomas Moore had removed everything from the kitchen before any sale of the home. Removing the kitchen, and of course, this also involved the flooring, but it didn't say that here, but removing the kitchen before the sale would devalue the property in a way that would allow Moore to get a lower appraisal value before making the sale. There are photos that we took on 5/1/2019 showing that the kitchen was in place at the time that the decedent died. So what had happened was that we had taken over because family wasn't found. Family came in, they took over, but apparently something happened where they couldn't administer it. And in the meantime, Thomas Moore stepped in. So we came into the picture, got out of the picture, family stepped in, then Thomas Moore stepped in because I think a notice of default was filed with the recorder's office because the mortgage had gone into arrears. And so maybe I'll explain that just a little bit. So when somebody dies, oftentimes, the way that these private administrators get word, I mean, and I think these guys have a different method, but one of the ways that they typically do is they watch for these public notices that the homes have gone into default because the mortgages have lapsed, like somebody stopped paying the mortgage, right? And so now at this point, the mortgage company is getting ready to do a foreclosure, right? So they do this, thank you, sir. Oh, sorry. They do this notice of intent to default, right? And this is the signal to some of these folks that, okay, well, I should go check this out and see why this is a default. Maybe I'll go knock on the door and see if anybody's home. Look through the window, see if, if it looks like it's lived in. Then they might do more research and try to find out who it was that was there and whether they died or not. Right? So then based on that, they'll file a petition in court to take over, to get this administration so they could sell the real property. So when they had taken control of this property, from that point to the point that family notified us again that, this estate had been taken from them, we stepped in. I filed an objection. We got into the house and found out that Thomas Moore had ripped out the flooring in the kitchen before a sale that he was preparing for. And so that was in this first note to Detective Jappy. Early on, this was March 6th of 2022, that I raised that particular concern with Detective Jappy. But so about 2 weeks later, Detective Jappy told me, hey, you know what? Well, I learned from Detective Jappy that they discovered that Compass Realty or Thomas Moore, they were not reporting on the closing documents for the estates, any personal property at all. So, when somebody dies and they have a house, you've got stuff in the house, right? Given that Vegas is a commuter city, most people have a car, right? At least one car. So, for someone to die with a house, but zero property of any value inside the house or any car, Detective Jappy thought that was really odd. He's like, no, there's something wrong here. So
what is this fucking guy talking about?
We're
dude?
going to.
What
it is
the
my understanding
fuck?
that they were going to go ahead and do stakeouts.
Listen,
I don't know if this was supposed to be with some type of.
The whole jury's like, dude, we did not sign up to take fucking real property, like 1L real property in law school, bro. What in the fuck are you talking about, man? Like, what? Like, when are we getting to the murder? When are we getting to where you were at when the murder took place? When are you going to explain to your hamburger finger to us? How did your DNA get under the man's nail? I can't wait till the jurors get to ask questions of this guy. So you did a lot of talking over the last 7 hours, but you never told us how your DNA got. It's going to be glorious.
Honestly, it would be a bigger kick in his fucking face if the jury asked him no questions.
Oh, yeah, for
that
sure.
would be. I would huddle with the guys like, guys, we know this is bullshit. Let's just ask him
nothing
questions.
And he'll be like, oh, shit.
Yeah,
Not at all. Walking back. Yeah, look at what's on. Hey, what's going on? Yeah, it's slow. It's slow moving. He's really getting into the nuts and the bolts of.
Yeah, I was thinking, we don't like to typically when we're streaming talk over. I feel like today people would be like, please talk over this guy because he's so fucking annoying. Oh, what is he talking about?
Yeah, it's pretty fucking boring.
Static car that just sits there empty with a video camera, but basically. My understanding was they were going to do observation on some of these homes when they still had property inside them, vehicles in front of them, and see what exactly happened with all that stuff. Because again, if you've got a house that's worth $500,000, you should probably have property inside the house that's kind of commensurate with that, right? You might have $5,000, $10,000 worth of property that can be sold. For the public administrator's office, oftentimes there was personal property to be sold, recovered and sold in apartments, right? I mean, there's very, very often stuff that's worth, at least $3,000-$4,000, right? And it's the probate administrator's duty, whether you're the public administrator or a private administrator, to ensure that those items are sold and the benefit is provided to the estate, right? So,
can they not object relevance or
these guys have done hundreds of estates, and no personal property is
Pammy threw that up, and it's a great.
Oh.
Yeah, they could.
Oh, she did. Shit, I didn't even see that.
Yeah, I think that they absolutely could, but I think that the approach by the state here is they're going to give this guy all the rope that he wants, so he can just go right ahead and hang himself because, I mean, what this thing is going to be fraught with things that he is going to absolutely be hammered on cross about. And like whether or not he's ever going to address what the rest of his defense did not address, which is the evidence. You typically want to try to rebut the evidence instead of telling some long, drawn-out story about how some amorphous corporation framed you and actually figured out somebody. They went to an employee, a guy making like 46 grand. Like I'm figuring like Milton from Office Space. All right, Milton, we got a fucking task for you, bro. You're not going to like it. Take your stapler. You got to go kill this guy. Like, wait.
We're going to burn this place to the ground.
We're going to burn this place down. I'll do it too. It's like some shit like that. I mean, like who are they getting to do it? You thinking like one of the higher ups at Compass Mortgage is going in? So I think this guy cost us some. They write that off. That's like a write-off amount for Compass Mortgage. They don't even feel that when you're talking about that kind of money.
They're hiring the dude from No Country for Old Men. They're hiring him to go with this cattle problem.
What's the most you ever lost on the flip of a coin? Oh man,
has been reported.
He was the best.
No
he was so great, man.
Best.
It seemed that was a concern for Mr. Jappy. But after that, I really didn't hear much more. And I understand that he said that he and I were buddies and we talked often, but that wasn't the case. That was kind of strange. I never considered him like a friend per se. Not that I'm, trying to say anything about that, but for him to say that he thought we were good friends, I couldn't understand how you'd characterize it that way. I guess when he was claiming that, we'll get to the ambulance situation later. But so he said again that we're going to do these things and then we're going to do title research, and again, still I didn't hear anything about the concerns with the James Clark situation or even the Reggie Abdul situation. And then I'll get into that situation here in a little bit. But, that same month, Rita Reed, my assistant public administrator, who's now the current public administrator, she filed for the position. And also a Compass Realty realtor filed to run for the position as well. So again, to this point, Compass Realty seems like doing everything they could to try to stop me, even running one of their own employees to try to take the seat from me. It was in the end of April. Now, and I'd like to, at the end of April, I guess, I'm not sure how the conversation went or how this interaction went between Rita Reed and one of the folks from Compass Realty, but Rita Reed, for her campaign, received $10,000. $10,000 from, $5,000 from Adam Fenn and $5,000 from Compass Realty. And I would like to, if I could, share L1.
Relatively speaking. It's like this isn't the kind of money that like money hungry mofos kill for. Like it's not that type of dough. They're about 5-10 grand. Yeah, Couch, they could certainly sue his ass off, but like I said this the other day, the first thing they teach you in torts, which is basically civil litigation, is that you don't sue somebody who's broke. This guy's been in jail for 2 years waiting trial. He ain't got a pot to piss in or a window to go down to.
Yes, please.
Okay, L1 is admitted.
Thank you. And so the document here again is Rita Reed's campaign contribution report from the Nevada Secretary of State. And I'm turning to, You know what? I think we might have to admit a different exhibit for another day. My apologies, but this is report number 1, and the contributions from Compass Realty and Adam Fenn are on report number 2. So
Another
my
day.
apologies.
My
So,
third day that I'm talking, we'll admit it. This is only day 1 of my 5-day plan to get out of this
And
case.
so-
2 hours later.
That's correct. So if you would note that we're going to be looking at when I bring that back tomorrow, we'll be looking at report number 2 that has those contributions. So
Little throwback.
so I end up, I guess after this happens, about 2 weeks later, Mr. Gurman's article, his first article comes out. And, I think we had those text messages from me from the day that I saw the article where I was upset. And I think, anybody who's the subject of an article that says certain things about you, could reasonably feel upset about it, right? I'll note that later, as we go through my tweets, you'll see that, that same demeanor from that day is not exhibited in any of my tweets later. And again, we'll go over that later. But so the articles come out and all that, and Rita Reed, and I'll show you in the campaign report, or you'll be able to review the campaign report. She didn't get too many contributions other than this $10,000 from Adam Fenn and Compass Realty. She ended up running 2 different text message campaigns, publicizing to voters the articles, right? And that cost about, I think, $9,000 or so. That'll be on later campaign reports how much was spent. So you'll see that this $10,000 that was given by Compass Realty and Adam Fenn went directly to this text message campaign, and I lost the primary. It was a bummer. Sorry, I don't know what, it was unfortunate, but I continued to fight against Compass Realty, and I think that's something that they didn't expect, right? And I did it just because I thought it was the right thing to do, right? I didn't, I could have just gone home and put up my feet and done no work at all anymore, but I continued that particular battle. I had nothing to gain from it because, in 7 months I was out anyway, right? So there was nothing for me to gain other than just doing doing the job, right? And then, as I mentioned earlier, there's a state of Recep Abdul where we got some headway on something. I had been discussing with one of the heirs what Compass Realty was doing in that case. And so we were, she was concerned and she asked us to intervene. So I filed a petition, and we had a hearing, I believe it was on June 29th of 2022. And I'd like to see if we could play the hearing video from that hearing. And this is
maybe approach on this one.
Sure.
A hearing? Shoo! You got some bloopities?
Oh, let's see if I might have some blue. Gotta have some bloopers. Bloop, 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 bloop.
I want to play clips from a hearing.
Well, I'd like to have the jury see that video. I guess I'd like to go ahead and then, if I may, share the Recep Abdul inventory. And that is, excuse me, M1, sorry.
If I can't play the video, I'd like to do charades so I could show the jury what happened. This fucking guy, man. This is insane. If I'm on the jury, I'm just getting angrier and angrier at this fucking guy. Are you fucking kidding me with this shit? Who do you think you are, sir?
Listen. Like, this thing started
this
out.
Document is an inventory filed in the estate
Exactly.
of Recep Abdul, for which
Like, going into this, it was this clip right here.
That was wonderful. Bravo. I loved that. That was great. That was pretty
pretty good.
Well, it wasn't bad.
Well, there were parts of it that weren't very good,
It
though.
could have been a lot better.
I didn't really like it.
It was pretty terrible.
It was bad.
It was awful.
This
I'm
is-
scared. I'm away.
Hey, boo!
Boo!
Ooh, that's right. That's perfect.
That's
Perfect.
it. That's it, man. Right there. So much
File
hope.
objection.
Oh, what? They're back yapping. Bloopy bloops. Bloop 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 bloop. Oh, wait. I see his mouth moving. Bloop. I mean, I'm assuming his lawyer's up there still arguing shit, right?
Yeah.
Or is that
This right now has been admitted.
okay? Is it possible to put it?
Second one is
Can we
admitted.
put it on the Alamo?
Court's permission upon court's permission after he explains it at point.
Sure, no problem.
So again, this is so basically when somebody's doing a probate case, by the end of the case, they've got to report everything that was found on the date of death of the person. If they have a house, they put that, they put the house on the appraisal, on the inventory, and they attach an appraisal for the house. Vehicles, they'll list vehicles, bank accounts. If there's personal property and they have appraised the property, that'll be listed on the inventory. So I have here the inventory that was filed by Cynthia Sauerland, who was the probate administrator for this case, who ended up taking over for Thomas Moore. So he had been the administrator for them for some time, and then she stepped in and continued their practices for them. As it turns out, she was also a real estate agent for them, whereas I don't think Thomas Moore was both an agent and the administrator. Get that done. I believe it's 01
Brought me a
and
piece of pepperoni, okay?
Nice.
the search one, I believe.
Taste.
I'm working with a grease pen. The writing's kind of thick. I don't know if it's S1. I'm so sorry.
Grease pen. The answer was grease pen. Whoever said grease pen, that
Nailed
was
it.
the winner. Whoever
Nailed
that
it.
was, it was a grease pen.
No, I'm
I
sorry.
remember
It was
it was a regular.
the search warrant that Detective Jappy had done.
Sorry, they gave me an adult crayon because I'm a danger to everyone around me and myself, and now I can't read it.
Yeah,
They
my
gave me
apologies.
finger paints because that's all they're going to allow me to use.
Unfortunately,
Oh, I didn't, Afton. Where is it?
the
Let me see. Oh, shit. Oh,
could
boy.
It could be.
Mega, are they napping?
If it's by Derek Jappy, yes, ma'am.
Explain what's happening. Hospice Jess, this dude got the authority to just give a straight up narrative on his direct rather than being asked questions. So he is just rambling incoherently.
And we don't really thank you very much, first and foremost, Hospice Chest, for that $20 holla. But yeah, we don't really know. We can kind of speculate as to why this happened. Allie and I have never seen it before. I've never, aside from pro se defendants, obviously pro se defendants can come up and do that because they have to, because they don't have a lawyer to direct them. In terms of a guy that's represented or a defendant that's represented, I've never seen this before. We're speculating that his lawyer, who he wouldn't be able to say it to the judge that this guy's going to get on the stand and lie because of attorney-client privilege, but he would have generically said something to the effect that we're having a disagreement as to what he's going to testify to, to the extent where I don't feel comfortable questioning him. So, I mean, the judge can take that for whatever it's worth. Ultimately, she granted it. So what you're seeing here is this guy being able to just puke out what could be a 7-hour narrative. We don't know. He's what, an hour in, and it's paint dry type shit, like watching paint dry. That's where we're at. Are we on another sidebar?
Yeah, you got any bloops?
Oh, I think I got some bloops. Oh, you want bloops? I got bloops, maybe.
Bloop it.
Bloop, 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 bloop. Oh, foiled, bro.
Oh, we're live?
Yeah, I'm live. God damn it. I thought I yapped a lot more than that. There's a lot more yapping. Thought I had
I'll
a
t-
solid like 8 minutes of blooping.
I'll tell you, someone tagged me in the reporter who's covering this, and they put if a defense attorney has concerns about a defendant testifying, sources tell me ethically the defense attorney should not ask the defendant on the questions on the stand. So it seems like that's the consensus here from people who are following is that these attorneys don't want to they're like, hey, do you want to say this shit? Knock yourself out. I did my best to defend you.
Right.
You know, try to get some reasonable doubt in there. But if you want to fucking go on some tirade, that's on you, dude.
That's on you, bro. Good on you.
Yeah.
Good on you.
Have at it, Haas.
Whew. Yeah, that's weird though. It's weird. But like, yeah, comparison to like the Morrissey situation, that blew my, and I was like traveling like when that happened that day, like I was watching, I'm like, oh my God, like of all the days that I have to be traveling, like this crazy shit happens.
Well, that was particularly wild because the judge very clearly was like, listen, I got all the stuff. She's like, I thought maybe, she's like, you don't have to. And then Mark, like, no, I want to come up there and talk. And then she, as an attorney, thought she was going to convince everyone after all that shit that we heard.
This time 01 is not admitted, and
Oh boy.
we can't find the other document, but I think at the end of the day, after the jury is excused, we can go further into that.
So, Kimberly McMahon had provided an interview, and in it, I guess I can speak to it. I'm hoping I can speak to my personal knowledge at least on it. I understand that she had alleged that.
Objection, hearsay.
You can't go into any hearsay or what somebody else said.
Okay, well, supposedly I had requested a commission from Kimberly, and
Objection, hearsay.
I believe he's referring to the testimony that had been elicited from Detective Jackson in his cross-examination.
Okay, so you could, if that's what you're talking about, you can just offer whatever relevant testimony you have.
so, it was claimed by, that I asked her for commissions and, or for a referral fee, which would have allegedly been in March of 2019. But she ended up making a claim that so she was interviewed. I guess you can do the math. She was interviewed by Detective Jappy 3.5 years later on that supposed issue. So, I think that, and also at the time I only had 4 months left on my office. Right. So why would, personally, I'm not sure why someone would wait 3.5 years to make a claim.
Proper opinion.
Okay, sure. Okay, Your Honor. That's okay. I'll go on.
Objection, improper defendant.
Improper narrative. Long and boring, sir.
So
boring to all of us, sir.
Detective Jappy obtained the search warrant into me, being able to now from that point forward track me starting August 17th. And it seems to, at least until September 7th, right? I had requested all the surveillance logs when I was representing myself. And originally I'd received only 3 from that whole time.
Objection.
Sure.
I'm not sure why that would be relevant, so I'm going to sustain the relevance objection at this point.
Sure. Well, and I guess this goes to a comment that Detective Jappy had made, Your Honor.
Rob Schneider,
Detective Jappy had said that they performed.
Now he's poking the bear.
Okay, but I
good.
He wants to get him enraged.
Sorry, I was just going to explain. Okay.
Objecting him
So,
to death.
can I speak about what he had said?
Objection.
I mean, as
Objection,
far as,
douchebag.
okay, well, I thought that if it was testified in court, that I could repeat his testimony in court. Is that still hearsay?
Well, generally, I don't like witnesses to say
Your Honor,
this is what another witness said.
Sure,
I mean,
but
The jury will be the ones to determine what the testimony was, but if you have something to add based on his testimony.
Exactly right. So in order to
Don't
provide
give this
context
fucking
for
guy
what
any
I'm
legal
providing
advice.
next, I just have to remind them of what his testimony was. That's all.
Sir, don't ask
Is that
me.
okay?
Well, that's exactly what I don't allow witnesses to do, is tell the jury what another witness testified to. You could say generally, but it's not appropriate to inform the jury what another witness testified to, unless you have a transcript of that testimony.
So what I'll do then
Forrest
is
coming
I
in
will
hot.
ask
Appreciate you. Thank you so much.
if we could share now. So it came to my attention that from reviewing the file into the investigation into Compass Realty, that Cynthia Sauerland was surveilled 2 days in a row. And so hopefully you can remember why that is important. And so I would like to introduce, if I may, M2.
I agree, Mega. And now we know it's going to be Rob Schneider cuter because he's doing the objecting. So that's who I was hoping was going to do it, Jay. I'm kind of a fanboy of his. Yeah. Like he's got a real defense attorney vibe to me. Like it's not your typical kind of buttoned up, like super conservative blue suit.
Oh,
right
yeah.
guy. He's just kind of like an everyman, straight talks. Like I like his style a lot, man. So I think he's going to hand this dude his bootay tomorrow. It's going to be tasty. I predict that the cross will be far more interesting than the narrative. I mean, we've got like 6 hours to go, kids. I hope you pop the popcorn. Jay's going to like be logging on. He's going to be like, fuck this. See you, man. I love you, buddy, but stick a fork in me. It's bedtime.
I mean, what time do they normally end? Like when they have a full day?
Like right around now, typically. Like sometime between, like I've seen her end at 4:30ish. She's gone to 4:45. I think she went to 5 one time. It was like real close to 7. I mean, she can cut this shit off at any point. I mean, clearly he's not going to be finished today.
No,
you know what I mean?
Not even close.
Not even close. Not even close.
It was a good comment. Someone's like, "Is he trying to filibuster his?" I mean, it's like a filibuster. That's really what it's like.
At this time, the objection is going to be sustained. However, if Mr. Draskowitz wants to call Detective Jaffe back and go into this, that is fine as well.
Thank you.
And so because I've got other items I want to review in advance of, certain exhibits to make sure that I can get them in for what occurred on 9/2. I'm going to go ahead and go forward, and then I'll save that discussion for later. So the Sunday after Mr. Gurman was murdered, I learned, and I was shocked. I think that, it was unreal. Then the following day, I know there was testimony about, I'd like to see if, I know there's been an exhibit that's been admitted, and it's regarding a discussion between me and Roberta Lee. I don't know if we can publish that. That would have been a discussion, a text message discussion we had regarding the killer's SUV. And it's a state exhibit.
That would have been a state's exhibit.
Correct.
It was listed during the effect.
He considers this to be like a fireside chat.
Yeah, I hate this. I hate that he gets to no, if you want to do this shit yourself, do it right. And just I hate they did it with Sarah Boone too. Like they help, just fuck. You want to do it yourself? You're so smart. And if you can't, then it's not in. Denied.
Learn the fucking rules of evidence,
right?
Counselor, like you're a licensed attorney in the state here. Like learn the fucking rules of evidence. But I never ever want to besmirch a fellow attorney, but trial lawyers have a different knowledge base, but everybody has it. The law is vast. You have all different types of areas of law. If you're going to ask me a bunch of probate shit, I'm the wrong dude. That's not my jam. Like,
Right, which is why if there was like a probate trial, whatever, or a issue, you wouldn't handle it. You wouldn't be like,
That's not my shit.
I'm going to do this shit myself. Not like this fucking guy. Well, why are we helping him? If he can't figure it out, no, denied. Objection denied.
Right.
But Your Honor, denied. But Your Honor, denied.
And I think his lawyer's like chiming in, trying to give him assist on it. But, you know, I mean, in terms of things that are inadmissible, like, I don't know that it would be any different. But his lawyer could have crafted questions that kind of, like Allie's always talking about ways to get over hearsay stuff in terms of like what somebody said. And he tried to do it where you basically say what you did as a result of what that person said without saying what that person said, which gives you a pretty clear idea of what that person said, like giving the end result of what you did. Did I
Is it muted or are they just not put on the mic?
It's still muted.
Good job, court law and crime.
Oh, they're fucking up. I mean, maybe it's
because of sidebar.
And then when we have, find the exhibit.
The state's exhibit, okay.
I'll keep looking.
All right, thank you.
So, when we were having that conversation,
Anywho.
you might have, she had shared a picture of this SUV, and in the picture, in the comment above it, it said something along the lines of the front rims don't match the back rims. And I looked at the picture and I thought, oh, well, you know what, that's okay. That's not, that's clearly not my vehicle. And so that's what I was, that's what I conveyed in the text messages that have been admitted. So I don't know if it's correct, which I would think you'd normally call it hearsay, but they've been admitted, so.
For the record, this is states exhibit 343 that's been.
Thank you, sir. Okay, sir, I'm sorry, could I? Can I ask you to, So here, this General Bob Custer, I'm not sure who the gentleman is, but he says that the Las Vegas murder suspect vehicles have a different spoke pattern. Most vehicles have wheels with matching patterns. So when I saw that, I thought, oh, okay, well, obviously it's not my car because my rims all match. And so that was the substance of that conversation. But later I thought, well, holy crap, excuse me, sorry. Like, my gosh, it still can't be a coincidence that the killer is driving a vehicle that's like mine. So I started to get really scared. Right? It couldn't seem to be any kind of coincidence that this person was driving a vehicle that was just like mine. Thank you, sir. And so I went outside, just double check, make sure I'm not losing my mind. I looked like, okay, well, my rims match, okay. And so I went ahead and started washing the cars, trying to just take my mind off things, and I watched the 3 cars, but there's been a debate about whether or not law enforcement knew 1 or 3, and that is what it is. Then at night, after dinner, I started making.
Glitchy
Uh-oh.
glitch. The glitch.
Oh, no, I think it was actually me.
Make her.
I would, Annie, drive us all to the ocean.
Off of like a Google recipe. And I was distracted, I inadvertently cut my finger.
Oh, here it is.
And I cut it across the tip of the finger, right? And if you look at the picture, it was, I don't know if we need to bring the picture up or not, but is that something we should do? Or so basically, you'll see that it may be difficult to see, but the way that I cut it was as I was chopping right across the tip. And so and it, I don't know what the
I don't mean to interrupt
No,
you,
sure.
because we do have a photo that was just
okay. Sure, please.
Sure.
Sure. Oh, okay. Yeah. No, that'd be great. Thank you so much. Yeah. No, I'm not murdering. No. Yeah, thank you, Judge. Okay. Yeah. Hey, can you help me out a little bit? Should we look at the picture? The fuck's wrong with this guy? This guy, like, so this, what, did he just say that he cut his finger cutting like veggies or some shit?
I thought it was on I missed that. I
missed it too. I'm blooping back. I gotta hear it. I gotta hear what his excuse was. It's the one thing I wanted to hear out of all this bullshit. This is the one.
Driving a vehicle that's like mine. So I started to get really scared.
Yeah.
Right. It couldn't seem to be any kind of coincidence that this person was driving a vehicle that was just like mine. Thank you, sir. And so I went outside, just double check, make sure I'm not losing my mind. I looked like, okay, well, my rims match. Okay. And so I went ahead and started washing the cars, trying to take my mind off things. And I watched the 3 cars, but there's been a debate about whether or not law enforcement knew 1 or 3, and that is what it is. Then at night, after dinner, I started making, like cooking for my daughter's lunches. My one particular daughter, she won't eat like the school lunch, or she didn't at the time. So I'd make her.
She does now because I'm in jail.
Chicken fried rice. Off of like
chicken
a Google
fried
recipe.
rice. That's what he cut it.
I was distracted, I inadvertently cut my finger, and I cut it across the tip of the finger, right? And if you look at the picture, it was, I don't know if we need to bring the picture up or not, but is that something we should do? Or
let's bring the picture up.
So basically, you'll see that it may be difficult to see, but the way that I cut it was as I was chopping right across the tip. So,
yeah.
I don't know what the
I don't mean to interrupt
No,
you,
sure.
because we do have a photo that was just
okay. Sure, please.
See, it's a good thing that I rewound. He cut his finger making chicken fried rice.
The old chicken fried rice defense.
The old chicken fried rice in the tailpipe routine, huh, sir? Wow, dude.
What's going on?
Oh, I just sliced it. I don't know how I can prove that I didn't do it when I was murdering Jeff German, because that would look the exact same. A knife cut's a knife cut. The timing was terrible. It was decidedly inconvenient for me. Oh, this guy's fucked. Jeez. Man. Look, he's got some huge balls to get on the stand and puke this shit out. Holy smokes. I mean, where's his daughter to testify? Like, put his daughter on the stand. Yeah, my daddy. Like a nightmare. Oh, God. Where's his wife? Where's his wife testifying? Oh, yes, I band-aided his finger up after he almost cut the whole tip off. I mean, nothing. He's got nothing. He's got no one to substantiate that story. This cross-examination tomorrow, it's going to be glorious.
Tell you about this other related situation. So while I was being self-represented, I attempted to seek these surveillance videos that included the video of me washing my car, or videos of me washing my cars. The judge granted the production of that. However, I never received the videos. And okay, so
The motion is granted.
I believe the videos show that I didn't have the finger injury. If you think about it, if somebody has a serious finger injury, would they be washing?
Objection argument.
I mean, I would not be washing.
Testify about your own
Sure,
experience.
sure, Your Honor. I believe I
Sure,
would
sure.
not be washing my 3 vehicles if I had a serious finger injury.
I think you would have gone to the hospital
And as you
and got
probably already gathered,
stitches,
you're going to hear
bro.
about the fact that
That's
was
what I
at the
think.
gym at around noon.
Unless you
And
murdered
I
somebody,
believe
then
I
you're
would not be
probably not
working
going to the
out with a
hospital to
serious
get
finger
stitches.
injury. Sir, you have that?
Yes, I'm, court's permission, I'm going to publish.
So now I went and made my famous buffalo chicken dip,
So,
and that's when they thought I was going
it
to
may be
kill
tough to see
myself.
that again. Like I said, it was a lateral cut, or it went across the tip.
You see it close up.
Okay, please. So you can see I still have the tip of my finger, if you can see it there. I had put super glue on it, and they pulled the super glue plug out of my finger, and so that's, and the reason it's all gunky like that is because, again, the super glue mixed with blood. So
And the chicken fried rice.
Thank you, sir.
And a little
So
piece
when
of
I
rice.
cut my finger
rice-
that night,
What do they call
I had
those kernels?
used scissors to cut.
A rice kernel? Seems wrong.
The super glue bottle.
A grain of
had
rice.
actually
Thank you,
the
Jeff.
tip had dried. Sometimes when I have an open super glue bottle, the
Sir,
tip
stop talking
dries,
about the tip, please,
and I
sir.
have to cut the tip.
Just
And
the
so
tip.
I had to grab scissors
That's all.
in order to do that. And I inadvertently left blood on the scissors that I forgot to clean off. But once I cut the tip off the super glue bottle, I super glued the tip of my finger together. I believe my healing process is such that I would not have had such a nasty injury for 5 days. Again, I can't speak to anyone else's healing process, but
My
that is
wounds
what it is.
typically heal overnight. Doesn't matter the size or depth of the wound. I wake up and it's gone. It's a miracle.
Like
I
Wolverine.
think we're going to discuss the situation of the surveillance log later. Is that right? Okay.
That is correct, based on the judge's ruling.
Okay. So you heard that a search warrant was obtained, and I got pulled over early in the morning on September 7th, 2022. The officers came at me with their guns drawn.
Oh no,
yelling at
with their
me.
guns drawn.
And I was basically coming from dropping off my stepson at school, getting ready to go home to pick up my one of my other daughters and then take her to school. And so they just, out of nowhere, 3 police cars just run up on me from the back, and I just scared. I had no idea what was going on. I mean, they basically yell at me to just stand. I can't remember exactly what they said, but they're yelling at me.
He had no idea what's going on. He just testified that as soon as he realized that the killer had the same car that he did, he was shitting his pants. What? He had no idea what was going on, huh, Boo? All right. If you say so.
Patted me down. They handcuffed me. They threw me in the back of a patrol car.
They were so mean
I
to me.
asked
You
them
guys wouldn't believe it.
what I did. I asked them, can I call somebody? Can I do anything? I mean,
Can I
did
make
this for
peanut butter and jelly before we go?
over an hour and a half. Just
Please.
tell me what's
Starving.
going on. Tell me what's, I mean, obviously at this point, I had my suspicions because of like the whole, just all that thing. But they wouldn't tell me what was going on. They just left me there.
Wow.
And the whole time, my family didn't know where I was. As
Oh
far as I
no.
knew, my dad expected for me to come
So
home
sad.
and take her to school. I was distraught already by that point. I believe you've heard how distraught I was about my family and what they were going through at that moment that I could imagine.
Was that him trying to
The
cry? He
school
can't even do it. He
I-
can't even get out the tears.
Went to the Summerlin Area Command for them to just take this DNA and to take photographs of me that I would be allowed to just come right back to my vehicle and go on my way.
Oh, and you bought that, did you, big guy?
That was what I was led to believe. And then
My toe is better than his finger. That's all I can say about that.
can I get? And I was led to believe that, and later I found out that 5 minutes after that, my vehicle was towed away.
Oh no!
Not
Oh, they
that.
took your car.
Not that.
May I get YouTube? Yes, that should be a CAD log from a traffic stop.
I thought he said YouTube for a second.
So I 100%.
It's like he wants to put on YouTube.
100%. I'm like, wait, we're gonna watch this dude's channel for a minute? All right. I'm like, well, give me the popcorn, bring it in. Watch some content. Yeah, dude. Like, cops can lie to you about all kinds of shit. Yeah. Just come on in. Just come on in. We'll let you go in like a half an hour. Just gonna clean some shit up.
Who is admitted?
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, right, dude. A series of unfortunate events.
And throughout this,
Like the guy has the same fucking car that I do, and then I cut my fucking finger. Like the
I'm
game, it's
going
insane.
to Palo Verde to drop my stepson off at the bus stop for LBA.
This cross could be fire.
On page 9 of this CAD log, it's about the 6. The 6th line down says on September 7th, 2022 at 8:09 a.m. request tow. So I was led to believe that I'd be able to come right back home, but when the tow was called in, or when you see a tow on that report a few minutes later, I don't know that was really what was intended. So then I was held there at the Summerlin Area Command. They did the swab, they did the photos, and then they took my jeans.
Your jeans.
I don't know
This guy in his jeans.
how we're doing for time, but
Oh, you're fine, buddy.
show with
Keep
my
on
jeans
trucking,
and
pal.
Show my jeans.
I mean, these are my
there's
favorite
a
jeans,
photo
man.
as well.
Couch, I don't think he's going to cry in the stand because I thought he was trying to cry when he was talking about his family and he couldn't fucking do it, but I guess we'll see.
I mean,
I really thought he was trying to.
He's trying. When you started thinking about the jeans, I think that started to get to him a little bit. He's like,
The jeans, it might be the jeans.
man,
They were relaxed fit.
They were so broken in. They were so broken. They were perfectly broken in. These fucking people, man. Bullshit. I got a couple of Venmos. Courtney paid you $20. Thanks for all your time and effort. Thank you, Courtney. And Tamara, it's a Louisiana girl. Thank you so much. Thanks for covering this insanity. Thank you for hanging with us tomorrow. We really appreciate it.
I got a Venmo also from Courtney and from Laura. Cash App from Laura. Thank you guys both so
Love
much.
it. Love it. Thank you all. We appreciate you.
You all, Mr. Draskovich, to hold up the jeans?
Yes, ma'am. Thank
Mr.
you.
Draskovich, bigger clip.
Oh my God.
Could we also publish that? Is that photo okay?
What happened to the hamburger finger?
Oh,
I wanted to see the picture again.
There should be. I'm sorry. Go on. No, sir. It's one that shows the front of the pants.
Oh my God. These bulges. They like our bulges. Our bulges.
Oh man, if I'm the jury, I'm so mad. Now it's 5, and I want to fucking get home, and now I'm gonna fucking be in traffic because this asshole had to show me his fucking Jenkos. Get out of here, sir. No one wants to see your fucking jeans. No one cares.
Actually, it may take a few more minutes, Your Honor. So I don't know if you want to just end it.
All right.
Yeah,
it's
just
probably
send it.
a good time
This would be a good time to break.
conclude. All right, so at this
Yeah.
time, we are going to end for the day. During this recess, you're admonished not to discuss or communicate with anyone, including your fellow jurors, in any way regarding the case or its merits, either by voice, phone, email, text, internet, or other means of communication,
Yeah,
or
they
social media.
need-
Read, watch, and
they
listen
need
to any
to see
news
my
or media
jeans.
accounts or commentary about the case. Do research, consult dictionaries, the internet, or reference materials. Do any investigation, test a theory, recreate any aspect of the case, or in any other way investigate or learn about the case on your own, or form or express any opinion regarding the case until it's finally submitted to you. We'll be in recess till tomorrow morning at 10:30. Thank you very much and have a good evening.
Thank you, all right. You're actually very good. Very good.
Guys, I just put the link in the chat because I don't think Josh probably has portals available yet, but Josh is live right now and he's covering this. So I'm sure, if you guys want to hop in there, I'm sure he would appreciate people hopping
Big
into.
time. Yeah, I was
to-
trying to get him on today, but he was in court. I was trying desperately to get him on, but he had court. So, yeah. Did you check to see? Let me see if I can portal to him.
I sent him the link, but I don't know if he's done it yet.
Let me see. Oh, you mean like where he added us where we can portal?
Right,
to
like
him?
you check. See, I don't know if he'll come up.
Yeah, I'm not seeing him. It's weird. Like I have some that I don't
Detective
think.
Jaffe probably was the appropriate witness to get those in, and I did indicate that you could recall Detective Jaffe if you wanted to.
Laura says she sent you a Cash App too, Bob. I don't know if you.
She did?
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. Oh, Cash App. Yeah, I don't. For whatever reason, I don't get the.
You gotta go into the old notification. You can either do it by email or by like a push notification on the.
Jay, are you speaking English to me? I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about, bro. All right, let's see. Oh, Emmy, Luna's mom sent me a $10 Cash App. Thank you so much. And that was all the way back on August 14th. I'm a terrible person. I'm a terrible person.
A week
Thank
ago.
you. I just saw it. I'm so sorry. Thank you so much, Luna's mom, if you're still in here. And then Laura, thank you. Laura from Oz, a $10 holla. Appreciate you via the Cash App. Yeah, I got to figure out how to turn those notifications on. In all seriousness, Jay, I love you. You are a mensch. You are a wonderful human. If you're not doing shit in the morning, are you streaming in the morning?
Yeah, I think what I might do is I had planned on sharing some of the shit stuff.
2004, Andre 3000 was the.
Sorry.
It's all right. I think I was going to share some stuff I got from the police report, so I might do it tomorrow morning and then maybe do a little rewatch tomorrow morning.
Okay, yeah, I'll dip in there and hang with y'all and chat, dude. If you want to pop in tomorrow, my house is your house.
Yeah, and I heard what you were saying. If you need help on Friday, just let me know. But this guy might be still fucking going until Monday. Who knows?
Dude, I mean, he is the last dude, so. I mean, with this kind of narrative, I don't know how much the state's going to have to cross. So, like, they're going to be like, all right, well, everything that guy just said, like I would do my Joe Pesci, but it's like bullshit. It's all bullshit. Like, you heard it. Do I really need to cross him? Can I ask the jury a question? Do I need to cross this man or are we good? I think we're good. Yeah, no. So, all right, dude, you're the best. I love you. Have a wonderful night.
Love you, dude.
Mods, thank you so much for all your hard work. I know you handled Jay this morning and then you pivoted over to us. We love you. You guys are the best in the business. And for everybody out there, new and old, we love you. Thank you so much for hanging with us. Thank you so much for hanging in the chat. We love our community. We hope that you love them too. I think it was your first experience today, I hope that it was pleasant. I'm sure that it was. We've just got an amazing chat with amazing people. Like you can just comfortably come into our chat and you're never going to feel like I said, like you don't have to go take a shower, like wash yourself off. It's like, it's got like the best chat that there is. So thank you guys. We love you. Thank you for all the support financially. Both Jay and I are so appreciative of that. And we will see you guys tomorrow. Make sure you're with Jay for the rewatch Adelson tomorrow. Chuck the motherfuck. watch him go down. Jay does a phenomenal job with it. It's hilarious. It's great.
Thank you.
I love watching it with Jay because Jay hates the Adelsons more than anyone hates the Adelsons. He just wants those sons of bitches all to go down. And watching him just like he's got the whole liar, the lying count. I mean, like technically, are you still on Wendy or did you go all the way through Wendy's?
No, there'll still be more Wendy tomorrow.
I mean, she's appointment television. There's no question about it. There's no question about it. So make sure if you haven't subbed to Jay's channel, please do.
Thank you.
We need him to get subs every day. We want a constant flow of subs coming to my boy. All right, you guys, we love you. Thank you for hanging all day. And tomorrow there'll be the crossover here. I promise it'll be better. It's got to be. It's
Yes.
Rob Schneider cuter. Like we all love him because he's the man. He's the man. Just remember, he put Tommy poo-poo face down. So, he knows how to get a conviction. All right, y'all. We love yous.
Later, everybody.